Nobody, no crime. Well, not on my time. Eyes are watching, giving victims a voice. Raise your voice from Delphi to Camden, and there will be no more botching. We might not be Dateline, but come along if you want a great time. Grab yourself a glass of wine, and let's talk some true crime. And hey, you'll even have an alibi if you collect evidence in red Solo cups. If your expert says it just did, you might have a problem. We might not be Dateline, but come along if you want a great time. Grab yourself a glass of wine, and let's talk some true crime. And hey, you'll even have an
Hello, hello. How is everyone tonight? Thank you for being here. And I am so excited for tonight to raise a little funds for Kelsey and get a little more awareness on this case. I have already set to go, and I'm not going to waste any time. I have my guest here, Mazza Media. He needs no introduction. You all love him. You know him. And he is joining us. Hi, Mazza.
Good evening. How are you tonight?
Good, good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm ready to go. This is a big night. This is a great night. You and I have participated in a lot of fundraisers, and I'm happy that you're hosting your second fundraiser. You got to keep track of the numbers. I title the numbers now. I'm like fundraiser 8, 9, 10. And this is fundraiser number 2. These fundraisers are really important, and I'm really thankful that you're taking time out of your night to do this fundraiser, and I'm thankful to be joining as well.
Well, thank you for being here, and thank you for doing so much already for Kelsey and raising an incredible amount of money from her. So I can only learn from you, and I am so excited that you're here.
I am keeping track of the totals tonight as well. I didn't tell you that.
Amazing. Yep. Thank you so much. I know you like math, so that's a huge help because I don't. Yep. So, and then we have also Claudia King. I am going to bring her on right now. Hi, Claudia.
How's it going?
Good. I know you have to kind of dip out. You're going to be on closing arguments in a little bit. So I want to just get to it with you. If anyone in the chat has questions, let me know. Claudia is such an awesome knowledge fort of information for anything law enforcement. And with this case, there is so much that we can pick her brain about. So I know that there's a lot of people who want to know things that aren't up here. So just put it in the chat. But yeah, I think the big news is that Kelsey has a hearing on Monday. It is pretty, pretty standard, just a evidentiary kind of hearing to make sure that the discovery is coming along and they're receiving it. And all of that, but it's a wonderful chance for anyone in the area to go and support her. I believe it starts at 10 a.m. Is that right, Mazza? I believe so.
10 a.m. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So if anyone is available to go, I know it means a lot to Kelsey and her defense team. And of course, Kelsey's color is purple. So it's always nice to see that. And we've been able to watch a lot of those streams live, and you can kind of see the people in the courtroom wearing purple, and it's really good to see that. So yeah, I will kind of hand it to you, Claudia. Is there anything that you have thought about since we last chatted that that you would like to kind of talk about?
I mean, I feel like there's so much to talk about. First off, hi. Hi, Maza. It's good to see you as well.
Michael,
Super stoked to be here. Um, I think that we just need to go back or continue to look at the events of that day and what those officers knew. So I'm really curious if they knew where the cameras in the house were located, whether or not they recorded audio, if they positioned themselves accordingly, because we saw that front camera that we had the view of, and they are immediately veering out of camera view. Was that intentional or not? There's a lot of things that I want to know about, just even in regards to that, which seems so minimal, but it's really not. When you think about their motives and their behavior and their actions, it's really important to know what they knew before they went in there that day.
Yeah, I agree. I still, I know we talked about it on Maz's last fundraiser, but the the like half a second it took them to be in that home to me is just it's haunting a little bit. It seemed just like they completely bombarded her, and just almost like pushed their way in. Like she's holding a very small infant. There is no, it didn't appear to be have any asking and just kind of inserting themselves in. And that still kind of haunts me. What do you think too, Maza? Do you have any thoughts on that?
yeah, the whole thing that's really bothering me the past 24 hours is I've just kind of looked a little bit more deeply into the North Andover Police Department, and I'm really kind of having the residual thoughts, really the residual impact of seeing the video of them walking in the house that we saw last week. And well, that's just scratching the surface. I think it really tells us that quite a bit. There's one thing like throughout all of this visually, I've had to imagine it. I've had to imagine the house, imagine the situation, imagine the officers. I don't mean imaginary as in making it up. I mean imagining as in here's what happened, fill in the blanks. And when you see the video and you see the color of the walls, the design of the door, the cops walking in, one of them wearing gloves, you start to get treated with more reality. Like, yeah, this is as real as you thought it was, and it's actually a little different than you might have pictured it, in fact. And I'm really just the past 24 hours, I'm really starting to hone in on the North Andover Police Department and specifically Chief Gray. And this was something that was brought up very early on quite a few shows, actually. It was this chief's lack of responsibility and handling this situation. And somebody tried to come at me on X like they always do and said, well, maybe don't draw a gun, somebody said about Kelsey. But it all comes down to the fact that what preventative measures could that police department have taken to ever allow her to have physical access to a firearm? And, again, I don't know if they knew she had postpartum or not, but let's be honest here. She had a baby. She was holding a baby when she answered the door. It's already a delicate situation. I understand maybe they might have thought there was no chance any incident could happen, but I don't think Kelsey would just fess up to saying she drew a firearm on herself and would do that and admit to it. I think admitting to that is a great thing. This is what happened. It's especially when you have postpartum depression, that can be cited. It's documented that a woman that gave birth within that time frame could have that, have that situation at presently, physically and mentally, and it can affect you, and it can cause you to act more emotionally and not have you act with the level of constraint. But that all said, how many people in this world have ever had their baby snatched off a restraining order? I don't know, but I'm going to guess it's not very common. And that's what I think is so shocking here. You mean a restraining order is being served, we're taking your child away, and there's not you talk about child custody battles. Come on. But getting back to the police department, they have a level of responsibility to themselves as officers, to Kelsey's baby, and even the opposing family that is a part of that baby's bloodline as well, to protect everybody. This is not a party. This is not a Super Bowl party. There's no chips. I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm serious. This is not, they're not coming over there to, hey, we're on duty, but we came over to say hello. You're taking away this woman's baby. And be honest here, Kelsey's child is much more important to her than her job. And I'm sure most mothers agree that they put the child's life before their own. That if there was a morsel of food, she would feed the baby instead of eating it herself. I'm more than sure that's how most mothers are, if not all of them. Occasionally, not every mother's like that, but it happens. But Kelsey, I do see as someone that was already a great mother, bound to be a great mother, but a police department that absolutely butchered this situation. Here's the thing. Even if Kelsey Fitzsimmons, quote unquote, had pointed a gun at him, Officer Noonan could have been shot and killed, for goodness sakes. And Chief Gray would still be responsible. And Chief Gray is responsible for what happened to this. People say, well, he wasn't there. I don't care. You can't tell me that this police department didn't have a level of conversation. They sent 3 officers. They didn't send 1. They didn't send 2. They sent 2 or more. They sent 3, which is a group at this point. It's not a duo. It's a group. And honestly, it's just absolutely shocking that they would, and it's LB Cop said this on Law Girls Not Attorneys. Why was there no supervisor present? Why were there no higher ups? I think there was a sergeant, if I'm not mistaken. And this is how this is being conducted. I said it before and I'll say it again. I understand what happened between Kelsey and the man she had the child with. I totally get it. I totally get that he had a restraining order. I totally get what happened. But this situation, and I'll say it 100 times, and I've already said it 100 times, it should have been no worse than what it turned into. And that's not Kelsey's fault. People will say, well, Kelsey pulled out a firearm. She admits to it. I totally get your argument. But what about preventative measures to ever stop the risk of that happening? Because they're in a document where they actually say, Kelsey, where are the firearms? That's actually documented, that they say, where are the firearms? And she says, oh, it's in the basement. What happens next? They allegedly go down there. At any point, did they ever come back upstairs and say, Kelsey didn't find the firearms? So before they allow her to move around the house, go in the room, whatever happens, happens. That whole situation should have come to a complete stop right there. Kelsey, if that's even what they asked, it's just their word, I guess. But if that actually happened the way they're saying it happened, or the way it's documented, then there should have been a full stop right then and there before anybody is moved around the house or moved into the house. None of that should have ever taken place. And this is at the end of the day, in the start of the day and the end of the day, this is an absolute disaster, to quote Mark Betterow, an absolute disaster, my guy, by the police department to not protect these people and not to protect themselves. So if you come upstairs, you can't find the firearm, Kelsey. Well, you know what? I know you said it was downstairs. We couldn't find it. Let's just like send her upstairs with 2 cops, have her pack the things for the child, and, have one of the cops come down, and we'll leave Noonan there in a one-on-one situation, even though we haven't located the firearm. Like I said, 99 times out of 100, a firearm is probably not going to get pulled. But in this particular situation, it did. And to preface that, they should have made sure, taken every assurance to secure the home first from any potential lethal thing. And now, if she had pulled out a knife or pepper spray or a taser gun, I get it. But you're talking about a gun, a firearm? You're coming for the firearms. That was part of the deal. Secure the firearms. And this is what I say time and time again. Kelsey could have been killed. Noonan could have been killed. What if Kelsey had shot and killed Noonan? What if the other officers came up and they got shot and killed too? She's a trained shooter. She's got experience with that. But yet, these officers, they want to, a terrible thing happened, at the house while we were secure. No. There needs to be a lot more accountability for that police department and that chief of police. And I truly believe this chief of police needs to be held accountable before the public, before his town, and really speak to the fact of why this could ever happen. And I tell you right now, this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. This is not like, let's be honest, this is not like you rolled up on a house that's a known drug and narcotics, a known narcotics dealer. Okay. These people could have connections to gangs, criminal organizations, cartels, whatever. Okay. It's not like you're rolling up on a house like that and you're saying, okay, we know these people in the house, there's 4 or 5 of them. We know they're known drug dealers. For all we know, they could have fully automatic weapons inside the house. Okay. Probably at that point, you want to call SWAT, but you're gonna proceed with a level of caution. Now, Kelsey was the opposite of this. This was a single mother, or about to be separated mother from a relationship. That's the mother of the child, but it's a situation that could get hostile, could get emotional, could get intense. Anything could happen. You secure the scene. You treat it with the highest level of caution, no differently. If you were about to serve someone that's dealing drugs. I mean, there's people busted for that all the time. You mean to tell me if they went to a house that they were going to raid for drugs, or a local kid, high school kid or college kid dealing drugs, that they would have gone there? And what if they had entered the home? What if they did it? Would they search the house first? Would they walk in the house of a drug dealer or someone that's very possibly a violent criminal and not secure the weapons? So when you go around the house to find out with the dog to find out where the narcotics are, this guy's not pulling out an AR-15 or semi or an Uzi or an MP5. I don't know, whatever. It's a matter of getting a situation secured, and this is an absolute concern for local police departments, that their officers are not experienced enough to handle a situation properly. And like I said, Kelsey Fitzsimmons could have been killed. Officer Noonan could have been killed, like him or not. Love him, hate him, think he's in on it, no matter what. The police department has a duty to protect and serve. Protect each other, protect everybody else, protect the public. And this is a situation that I think is going to get more and more shocking as more and more details come out, because we're just going off very little details. And I had people, I'll yield back in a moment. I've been talking a while, but off that little clip we saw, it just didn't look right to me. I just didn't like the way she had opened the door. They're right in the house. There's an issue with policing here. And I want to be clear, I'm not an anti-police person. I love cops. I've had cops in my family, past and present, and probably future. And I know that, not all cops are bad. And let's just say, for argument's sake, these cops were good guys. They were just doing their job, and things went a little, off the hook, they unpredictable. They weren't good cops in a sense that they're good people. They weren't bad cops, maybe that they were corrupt or dirty, but they were bad cops in a sense that they didn't handle the situation appropriately. And this was an absolutely avoidable situation. To conclude here, this should have been nothing more than a dispute between Kelsey and Justin that is going to be dealt in family court. And that is not what's happening right now. I'll yield back.
No, it was great. Some great points, Mazza. Absolutely
Yeah.
great points. I really, really like the fact that you were talking about, even if Kelsey, wasn't shot, if Noonan was shot, it would
Mhm.
still be on Gray. And
Yeah.
and that is a fantastic point. Claudia, what do you think?
Do we happen to know where her firearm was in real life? Has she said where she pulled it from?
No, I don't think so.
My estimation was that it might have been in it could have been in like a bureau dresser, some kind of closet perhaps. That's my guess, because I have not at least come across any information yet to show where she, it could have been in a bed, in a closet, cabinet, something like that. But I believe it was somewhere in that bedroom at least.
Right. So I guess where I'm going is my firearm sits on my nightstand, and it sits in such the way that, like, if I have to roll out of bed, it's ready for me to grab and turn. So was it sitting out where they should have been able to see it? Like, there's just a lot of weirdness to me about potentially where she pulled it from. There's also weirdness to me that they left Noonan alone. And was that so it would be only his word because there would be no one else there to speak, theoretically. As they say, the victor writes the history. And so did they anticipate him to be the victor? And so only he would have a story to tell? And I agree with you in saying that the fact that she admitted grabbing the gun and pointing it at herself means something, because with all the other allegations of kind of misconduct and everything else, it would have been easy for her to say, I never touched the gun. Yeah, my DNA's on it because it's my gun. Yeah, oh, they found it out. Well, they planted it there. Like, it would have been super easy to say, I never grabbed anything. And that would have been the easier story to tell. So the fact that that's not the story that she's telling, to me, makes it seem true, because it would have been so much easier to go an entirely different route if she were going to tell a lie.
Right.
So I'm glad that you pointed that out, that she did make that admission, and that's never been in question from her side. But I would love to know, and I know at some point we'll find out, where was the firearm? Was it where they could see it, or they should have been able to see it? Because if they had not located it yet, as you said, then if we're all going upstairs, even though we should still find the firearm, well, then I'm going to go in and sweep that room first, especially if there's two of you. One of you can stand in the hall with her, and the other one can go in and peer around and make sure that there's not a firearm or a knife or a taser or pepper spray in her grasp or in the area that she would reach. So that's just another point of something that they could have done differently, better, that they did incorrectly, in my opinion.
Right, and to speak to that too, like, at the end of the day, she knew it was his word against her word. She was aware that they didn't have body camera footage. So the fact that she's taking accountability and saying, yeah, I did. I pointed the gun at myself. Like, I don't have anything to hide. I was in this low of a place, which I think so many of us can relate to, why you would maybe impulsively think that was the way to go. She had been through a lot and all of that. And hold on, we have an amazing surprise guest, and she is here. Also needs absolutely no introduction, the one and the only Nurse Kim. Thank you for joining us, Nurse Kim.
Happy Friday.
Yes. How is your day going?
Crazy. Yeah. A crazy Friday, but I was so happy. I was like, if I'm able to, I needed to come over. I wanted to be with you guys tonight because it's so important for Kelsey, and it is so important, all the hard work that you, Maza, Claudia, and all the lovies in the chat are doing every day, trying to fight for justice in our Commonwealth, and specifically for Kelsey.
Kimmy, this is Claudia. She is retired law enforcement, badass, extraordinaire.
Queen.
I feel like you guys would vibe so good. So anyways, I'm excited that you guys are getting to meet. We were just talking about, what we know, because there's so much that we don't know.
Right.
And how Maza she had posted a lot on Twitter the other day and even put a picture of Chief Gray. And for me, I don't know about you guys. He looked a lot younger than I had him pictured. And having like a visual for me, like, that helped a lot. So that was amazing. Thank you for doing that. And we were talking about how even if Noonan had gotten shot, it would still kind of be on him, and he would have to explain that away. And I think it was it 30 days that Noonan was out when they did this little investigation to see if he was cleared?
Something around that. Yeah, something around that time frame.
And I wanted to ask Claudia, what do you think? Is that like normal? How does that time frame sound?
Yeah, that's probably in the range of normal. 4 to 6 weeks. Sometimes it can go longer, just depending on how long it takes that internal investigation to go, which normally it's called an internal investigation, but in this situation, it would go to like a For here, it's CBI, Colorado Bureau of Investigation. It would go to them to actually do that investigation to clear the officer. So, I mean, 4 weeks is kind of cutting it short, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's not something that would give me pause, other than, like, did he go through therapy or anything like that, especially having shot his coworker and friend? He should have been required, and even if he shot just Joe Blow on the street, to do some psychiatric therapy as well, something to get cleared on that side. So I'm very curious to know if that happened.
That's a great point. That is an absolute great point. And two, before this, they had been on an incident where it was like a murder suicide, I believe, and they had seen
Yes.
that, witnessed that together. And I believe it was kind of said that there wasn't a whole lot of help offered to them, like mental health, which is a problem. And so,
Mhm.
you know, that's a great point. Did he get the proper help, therapy in that 4 weeks? And is he continuing, to do so? That's huge. Anybody jump in and feel free to
Claudia,
ask me.
did you talk about your experiences? Just because I know when I look at this case just from like a mother perspective, I'm a nurse, and it's like, unfortunately, I've been there and I've seen I've experienced myself postpartum anxiety, but it's
Mhm.
also with the postpartum depression, with her being cleared to return to work from the law enforcement perspective. And as a woman in law enforcement, I'm very interested in just the dynamics of, is it still the boys? Like, do you still feel, when I saw the chief and I'm seeing the younger man, and I'm just thinking of Justin, and I'm just thinking of, like, with the firefighters and the cops and how they're so connected. Were you still feeling that it's kind of that old boys club still in this day and age?
100%. I just pulled up the picture of the chief, so I had to look at that. Not what I expected.
Right.
So
Right? Yeah.
let me
Right.
be the first to say that. I'd like to see his resume, to see where I'm going to dig into that, because I
Yes,
want to see where
please.
he came from. But back to you, Nurse Kim. Yes, it is still 100% the good old boys club. As much as, a lot of places have made some strides forward, they do have more female officers. This particular department really didn't. They had a couple, but, it's still, you're still fighting for your spot, and I'm sure that Kelsey felt, I don't want to say I'm sure, I would think that she felt, when she had to say, I'm going through this, I am having trouble, that was probably really hard for her, because it's hard anyway,
Yeah.
as a police officer, to ever admit that you're having trouble, that you're struggling. But on top of that, that she's struggling for something because she's a woman, basically. She would feel like, well, is this going to affect my career? Is this going to affect my chances to get promotions down the road? Like, is this going to be in my file forever? So she probably thought about that side as well. And so the
Right.
fact that she still was able to step forward and say, I need this help, is fantastic. And that speaks to her integrity to want to get help and to want to do the right thing. So I think, when we're looking at pros and cons, or, pluses and minuses, when you look at people's sides, she just has all these things that are stacking for her on the integrity side and the truth side, all these behaviors that show what kind of person she is outside of this incident, which generally determines how you're going to act inside of an incident as well.
That's a great
Yeah.
point.
Makes sense.
And then we know the tragic ending to this was that Kelsey got shot, seriously injured, and had to be arraigned from her hospital bed. And then once she was able to get back to court, she got thrown back in jail, and we saw the dumpster fire that was Kathleen McCarthy Naiman, was atrocious. Kim, could you maybe speak to some of the severity of those injuries and how it seems like, just as a layperson, I don't know much about, serious injuries, but
Right.
common sense, like, she should have known that, being able to blow into a device would cause issues.
Yeah, absolutely, Lauren. And it was just, it's so tragic. And if you just go from like second one of that split second decision of Officer Noonan to shoot the shot and her being shot in the chest, that could have vitally, had it moved, a very small area, okay, of that shot could have been life changing in a way that either ricocheted and damaged her spinal column. She could have been paralyzed. She could have ended up like not with us, not here today with that specific shot. She still has shrapnel and metal in her body that has never been removed. She had a collapsed lung. She had a chest tube. She had a hemothorax, which is blood in her lung. And that is where she also had liver. Her liver was lacerated, and that could have led to life-threatening injury and complication as well. Luckily, Kelsey had things going for her, including age, and she was in shape. So those things were really, had that happened to even a 40 or a 50-year-old officer, that could have resulted in the end of her life as well. So many things I think were lined up for her to survive this and to move forward and to be able to fight and to fight for her child, to fight for changes in laws. But sorry, back to her
you're
actual
fine.
injuries. Yeah, she just that with the breathing into the device that was not going to be able to be really done well because of the incentive spirometer. She was in the hospital for over 50 some odd days. I believe it was 56 days at Mass General Hospital. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that is where she is progressing. And for them to keep her in a hospital in today's day and age where you have a baby, and if you have a vaginal delivery, sorry, ladies, our 7 males that are here, earmuffs for 3 seconds. If you and Maza, my wing king, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Maza, but if you have a vaginal delivery, you could be out in 48 hours, bye-bye, get out, go home. And so you imagine, think of how injured she was at one of Boston's premier hospitals, that they couldn't release her. And I still believe in my heart of hearts that she was released too early, too soon, because she didn't have that lung capacity. She didn't have that aftercare that was going to make sense for what was needed from the courts, right? So she's doing this lung capacity, but she's still in a confined hospital setting. She's not getting, she's doing PT, OT, she's doing all the things, but that it was probably an early discharge. So she gets out and she's immediately noting, oh, this is a problem. I'm doing this. She never gets violated, right? But she's saying this is painful. This is, my capacity here is not where it's supposed to be, because I'm going to need months to a year in order for my lungs to be able to expand and retract the way in which they previously did. When you're healing, plus your mental health, there's so many different avenues in which she was struggling at this time, immediately after the hospitalization. So they ask for, we know that Attorney Bradle goes in and asks for just a modification. That's it. I'm willing to do a urine. I'm willing to do a blood draw. I'm willing to do anything you need. I just need to get my lungs a little bit. I have to have more capacity with my lung volume before I'm able to do this to the best of my ability. And I don't want there to be any problems, because you have to remember, Kelsey's a rule follower. She's a police officer. She doesn't want to have anything that's coming up that, this could be a jackpot or a real problem for me with the courts. And I know this. So she goes and she asks for this modification. She has the approval from our probation department. Officer January is co-signing and saying, absolutely, this all makes sense. Duh, she was just hospitalized and almost in life-threatening condition when she was brought to the hospital. Like, she is still recovering. And instead of just saying, no, we're not accommodating this, Judge Kathleen decides to put Kelsey Fitzsimmons back into jail. Into jail. There you go. That's where you belong. And it is such an injustice in and of itself. This entire case from June 30th of 2025 to today is like, what when we put together the lines, right? It's just so confusing to me. It's so disappointing to me. It's discouraging. And most of all, it enrages me for women. It enrages me for mothers. It enrages me for I'm following the lines. I'm following and doing what you're asking me to do. I'm staying within this colored area, and yet you're still punishing me. And that has been what I've felt since she was sent to jail, then all the way up when she did the appeals and everything else. And Tim Bradle still working on that and being denied. And then what do? You finally put in a last motion that is the exact same conditions in which you were first released, and you finally get to go home. It's shameful. In my opinion, it's shameful to this Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So
I agree.
yeah. And she's still healing today. When we see Kelsey, you see her since she's been home and is still in that confinement, still in her own, with her parents not able to have access to her child, which is just devastating. But then you see her and she looks stronger to me. She looks more healthy to me. And that every day could have been occurring since September. But you took those months from her when you put her into an incarceration state, which was an abuse of power, in my humble opinion.
Oh, I fully agree. Absolutely, 100%. I mean, just a slap in the face to anyone. And Claudia, I know you have to leave us very soon. I never got to ask you this before. It was my thought, and you would know, so tell me if I'm wrong. But I just felt like if Kelsey was a man, I don't think she would have been thrown back into jail. I don't know. Just a thought. Am I way off? Because that's just kind of how I felt.
I don't know that you're way off. I mean, something was wrong with that judge for sure. I don't know if there's something always wrong with her. Does she have an issue with Kelsey? Is she friends with somebody? Like when you're dealing in these small towns or smaller towns, everybody knows everybody. We saw it in the Karen Reed case, and too many people's lines were crossing and everybody was denying it. So is she friends with somebody in Justin's family? Like, I just feel like there's more to the story. As we've talked about before, there's something there that was going on with her that caused her on that day to act like a complete bleep.
Oh yeah.
I don't get it. And I can't believe that she hasn't faced any repercussions for that behavior, to be honest with you. I really can't. I wanted to say something semi-interesting really quickly.
Yes.
I just did a quick little dig on the police chief. So he's like 52-ish years old now. When he was appointed chief, that was like 10 years ago. He had already been there for 15 years. So basically his whole career. And a lot of times in smaller departments, people accelerate more quickly than they should. Or more quickly than they're qualified to. But what I also found interesting, he was voted in 3-2 by the council, or I think they have a different name for it there. But yeah, so it wasn't unanimous. It was 3-2.
That's interesting.
The selectmen is who interviewed and voted. And so I'm probably going to dig into that deeper too. He was interviewing along with a lieutenant and a sergeant at the same department. And so that's kind of interesting.
That is.
The sexual harassment lawsuit that he had, that officer, or she's a sergeant, she's still there. That just settled this last December. Like, there's a lot floating around this place that doesn't make sense.
Yes.
To me.
someone bringing out here that was it three female officers that had complaints about him?
At least two.
At least
two, yeah.
Wow.
As of January 14th, 2023, a second police officer named Gray, this time in a whistleblower lawsuit. This is according to the EagleTribune.com. So at least two female officers. It says a management report of the North Andover Police Department issued after a female officer filed a sexual harassment discrimination suit. Of course, the screen's popping up pop-ups all over the place just as soon as I start getting going reading it. Let's see. I think it's going to block me. I think it's a paywall. Yeah, it's a paywall.
Oh, I hate those.
Oh, I know. I tried to
yeah.
read that one too.
Yeah.
When Catherine Gerke, I don't know. Apologies, Catherine. I don't know how to say your last name. She filed her suit in like January 2023. She has been subjected to a pattern and practice of sexual harassment, retaliation, and gender discrimination. So it named the chief and the town manager as a defendant as well.
Oh.
So I mean, I feel like that's really interesting, given the fact that you said he had been there like for 15 years, that he did have some opposition on that. I think that is
right.
Interesting.
Oh, that's huge.
normally, yeah, like you pick your people and they go in and they sail through those interviews and it's like done deal. So
what was his ranking at the time, Claudia? I'm sorry, you said he went up against a sergeant and a lieutenant. What was he?
I think he was also a lieutenant at the time.
Okay.
So it was two lieutenants and a sergeant. I think they were all men. I mean, that's it. Just factual. There weren't really many women there. There's a copy of this lawsuit though. So at some point I will dig into this and see what we have here on old Charles.
Google AI gave me a little bit of a work around this. And it says, Catherine Gerke filed a lawsuit in 2023 against Police Chief Charles Gray, the town, and a former assistant town manager. Here's the gravy or the juice, alleging a long-term pattern of sexual harassment, gender discrimination, and retaliation. The lawsuit claimed a hostile work environment, which led to a settled whistleblower lawsuit. Key details regarding the allegations against Chief Gray include allegations. Sergeant Gerke alleged she was passed over for promotions and faced retaliation for being an ally to other female officers, so I guess that's more than two, who filed complaints. Context: a 2019 sexual harassment complaint filed by another female officer led to a report recommending management training for Chief Gray. The suit, filed in Essex Superior Court, accused Gray of violating civil rights and intentionally inflicting emotional distress. The case was settled in mediation by the town and police.
Wow.
Settling everything, huh?
Yeah.
They refer to their paper shredder as Marie.
That was one of the things in the complaints. There was just, and I know that I read one of them. There was things like that, like high school, not even high school, like middle school stuff that was just like, downgrading like of women and like men just being like, I don't even know, like just stupid, like
childish.
Yeah.
Not you, Maza. Yeah, except they called it Marie to compare female officers to trash, was like the reasoning behind it. I mean, because I name stuff as well, but not with that intention. So it's the intention behind it. It is a pattern of behavior. And wow. And it sounds like it went on for a really long time, because one of the points in the complaint referenced then Lieutenant Gray. So I mean, so that means this stuff was going on before 2016.
So
that she's talking about in this lawsuit.
That could very well be why it was 3-2 then, if that's a pattern and it went way back. Wow, unbelievable. He sounds like a gem.
He really does. He sounds like somebody that I would really want to hang out with 100% alone in a room. And B, that I would want to be in charge of protecting my town.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing.
It's always scary to me when I think about us as women, just that if he treats his officers that way, if he treats his own fellow brethren in blue, right? Your brothers and sisters in blue, whom that camaraderie and that bond is one that is very tight. Imagine how the community must feel like if you have, like, when we're seeing for Lowell, which is close to Lowell is a city that's very close to me, that there's domestic violence calls that are not being answered and not being treated appropriately, not removing people from homes because they're not believing women. There are other officers that are just being actually managed right now and being taken, having suspensions and being relieved of duty, and it's on post years after they've learned that there was behavioral health crisis of teenage girls, and there are officers that were having or trying to have sexual relationships and sexually assaulting young women. This is unbelievable and cannot continue, and there needs to be light shown on it all, in my opinion. I don't want you to deny FOIA requests. Keep filing them, lovies. All of us, we will dig. We will dig for the girls. We will be voices, because as much as they want to settle all this shit in court, as much as they want to continue to go down a path and say, oh, it's 2026, you're sensitive, or like, this isn't still going on. It is. And every day I see some bullshit in this Commonwealth about Mass State Police or another town, another city, and another one of you is exposed. So keep going. Don't stop, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, they are just growing the corruption up there in your Commonwealth. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
And this is something,
and it's that culture, though. It's that culture, unfortunately.
It is the culture.
Like that. And I come from a law enforcement family, a law enforcement of this Commonwealth. And like, to our good officers, to our officers who every day get up and put their lives on the line, and that they want to protect and serve, and took that oath and really care about it and care about all of us. We salute you. We thank you.
Yes.
We do not mean you, but we come for the bad ones, and we want to uncover this so that you are respected and you are able to do your job. Because, it's just not an appropriate or anything that should be swept under the rug at this time. At this time, this is where we rise up and say enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's got to be hard on the good officers, because, we've all seen when one bad one just really turned the whole public, against everyone. And so it's got to be really hard for the ones that are good and do the right thing and have integrity to just be surrounded by these people that named the paper shredder after an officer that had to resign or something. That's where it came from. So,
yeah, ridiculous. And nobody hates a corrupt law enforcement agent like a good law enforcement agent does, because it undermines everything that they're there for. So, this is such a big case. And there's, this is not the only police department that is having stuff like this go on. So again, this is why we want to shine a light on this and get this out there. That's why we're having fundraisers, because while we can't take away her charges, we can help fight and help her with her funds to have the best. And Bradel is one of the best, and he is worth every penny. And if we can help support her and help facilitate her to have those good attorneys to fight this, I mean, in the Karen Reed case, I don't know that, she would have gotten such good representation if she didn't have the money that she did and the backing that she did, sadly. And that happens every day here in this country.
Yes.
So anything that we can do, $5, it adds up. If everyone, were to send $5, that really adds up, and it makes a difference. So we can all do, our parts. We can join the Facebook group. We can share it to our friends. That's free if we don't have the funds. So everybody can kind of put in their part. This is all a big community that is kind of relying on each other right now.
Yeah.
Maza, you just put some. Here, I'm gonna pull this up. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow. Look at that. So there was 40 male officers. I mean,
Well,
can
good
you-
golly, and three of them filed a suit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
3 of 3? Oh, okay. That's 100% right.
That
Wow.
seems like that would be a problem. Like
Yeah.
I don't understand how that's not a problem.
I wish we had a
This
lawyer
thing
on the
is-
panel.
I think I read this article at one point a few months ago, but I don't remember it as vividly as I do. But this thing is loaded with all kinds of stuff.
Tell us.
In terms of her not Gerke, sometimes it's tough when they have a tough name to pronounce because you feel horrible saying their name
I
incorrectly.
know.
Like the
Just
lady
call
that
her
gave,
Sergeant Catherine.
yeah, yeah, Sergeant Catherine, Officer Catherine, yeah, exactly. So she had left from the so among the allegations when she was transferred to the department, which is now North Andover, after 9 years with the Hingham Police Department, her pay started one step below the maximum salary. But she then said that she was told that she would be credited for previous years of service and a pay raise would come. But in March 2022, the town of North Andover revised its collective bargaining agreement so that only years of service in North Andover were credited and not previous years of civil service. See, that sounds like finagling to me.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then she says, in the suit, she says she was the only North Andover superior officer, keyword superior, who had prior years of service with the town of Hingham and would be adversely affected by the change in the language. So basically, that's where she argues she's isolated. She then complained to Casey, I'm not sure who that is, I didn't read the beginning of the article, but I'm kind of skimming it, about the change and requested a meeting with the North Andover officials, but no such meeting ever occurred. This was a complaint about the lack of salary. Additionally, when she served simultaneously as the town's school resource officer and court officer and firearms officer, she complained to Gray, who was then lieutenant, that the positions should be separate. I actually agree with that. The suit, that's a good point. The suit says that the recommendation was not well received by Gray and that Catherine eventually resigned as the school resource officer. According to the suit, Catherine never was promoted to detective, which was retaliatory and done as a consequence of expressing her dissatisfaction with Gray's decision-making. Gray took over as chief in 2016 and began to implement and foster a culture of discriminatory and harassing conduct within the police department. The suit says that Catherine supported a female officer who filed a Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination complaint against the town of North Andover negatively impacted Gray's opinion of Gray. Just pausing for a moment here. She also alleges that the department refused to offer any critical incident stress management to those North Andover officers who responded to the scene of a Columbia gas explosion in 2018. Anybody who remembers that in Massachusetts?
Yes.
That was wild.
Yes.
That was where a lot of homes just started exploding left and right on like a
Wow.
Thursday afternoon.
Oh my God, it was terrifying.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
that was shocking. The suit notes that Catherine also informed the department's director of human resources about multiple pranks taking place in the office, saying she was concerned regarding the unprofessional environment at the department that was being fostered by Gray. The pranks, according to the suit, included putting a barricade in front of the elevator to prevent anyone from exiting the elevator. Well, if you're going to do an office prank, like maybe pop a balloon behind somebody, but if you're going to block an elevator,
That's a safety issue.
Yeah.
Literally.
And like
I'm fine with pranks.
How old are we? Yeah.
I'm
Right.
okay though. Like we used to do some pranks, like that's fine, but not if you single people out or it's a safety hazard.
Right.
Yeah. And
Meanwhile,
these were
go ahead.
these are, I guess they were directed towards the women officers. Like they probably wouldn't be putting stuff up against the elevator for the men. So it's like, I mean, you could. I'm all in good fun, for doing something funny and whatever. But like, that's not funny. That's stupid. Like,
Yeah.
live. Like that's come on.
Well, and God
gets-
forbid there actually was a fire and you couldn't get,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Or if you needed to, like, when there's something that is actually like an OSHA risk that you are doing in your department and in your building, then you're being bigger than an idiot. You're actually putting your staff at risk if there was an actual emergency.
Exactly. Wow.
They also did even wilder pranks. This one's not too wild to start, but the second one's a little bit wild. She also says that pranks in the office included adding salt in the officer's coffee as opposed to sugar. And this one's a little crazy, really crazy, I think. You never know if Higgins worked for North Andover, but this also included moving officers' personal vehicles from the parking lot to remote locations. What if somebody had a family emergency, like they were having a kid born that day, or their mother had I guess I could always give them a ride, I guess, but still, why put people through the hassle? That's just, you don't expect that from police departments.
What is our IQ level? Salt in the coffee. That's the best you got? Like, really?
Right.
Can't you get creative? Like, impressive.
Right.
This is not. Come on.
Exactly.
Carl, you put salt in my coffee again.
Oh man. Well, I can't wait to hear if just more of this afterwards when Kelsey is free to speak and free to, that's another thing. Like we haven't heard her side, and I can't imagine how frustrating that is for her.
It's just, you read about this kind of stuff, and I understand cops, maybe like little tiny pranks from time to time. I get it, but you listen about the female locker room here not being as in good condition as the men's. There was this disparity between both locker rooms, which resulted in Catherine being branded as a troublemaker by her supervisors within the department. Now, here's the thing, though, is that a lot of time, all the time, I should say, almost all the time, you only know what you hear. We only know this because Catherine filed a lawsuit. Now, we don't know what, Kelsey might have been an officer that maybe got along better. Maybe he wasn't treated the same way Catherine was. But at the same time, considering what happened to other female officers there, we don't know if Kelsey, this is why people start to, people always say, well, you shouldn't have a conspiracy theory. Well, here's the thing. I like the movie Jack Reacher with Tom Cruise. I talk about it often on my show. Tom Cruise's character always says it's good to have more than one theory. And my attitude's always been to have multiple theories. What are some realistic things here? And when you talk about conspiracy theories, you see how this officer's, it's all over the internet, complaining about retaliation, complaining about not getting certain promotions. You see what's happened. It's very easy to sit there and say, and I'm not saying that's what happened, but I am saying it's in play, is it's very easy to say, well, based on what I'm seeing happen to other female officers, would I be out of my mind to suggest that something similar or maybe at different levels was happening to Kelsey?
Exactly. Yeah.
Agreed, Maza.
It's when you have like one, like it's easy to be like, it's one. But like, when you have multiple reports of this, it gains legs, it gains strength, and just it's a pattern in these departments. We know it, and as women, we've seen it. I know people like Claudia who've been through it firsthand. It's a problem.
Oh, Claudia, have you shared? Did you share? Have you had a similar experience to what this lawsuit has alleged, or no?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Not similar. No, it's fine. Not similar to the lawsuit. No. So when couple things, and I'm not sure if I shared this on the last one, but years ago when I was at the Greensboro Police Department, it was when Maxim magazine existed, because I think it's gone now. And they did like a contest every year, and I entered it because I was slamming. And my husband took all the pictures. He was my fiance at the time. So I didn't indicate like where I was a police officer or anything in my entry, but somebody found it, which I didn't care. Like, I wasn't trying to hide anything, but they copied like hundreds of the pictures of me in a bikini and posted it up all over my substation. Wow. Like in an attempt to shame me. And I'm like, I look good. Like, I'm not ashamed. Like,
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Yeah, and apparently, so my husband, he was a police officer at a different substation, and he was like, could all you guys like please go vote for her? Like, instead of just
Right.
like throwing these around, like go vote.
Yeah.
So that was one experience. But yeah, so I worked for a small department in Colorado. I was actually kidnapped and assaulted by the chief of police, who once the town discovered, so they did an investigation when I reported it, when they realized it was true, because I had text messages and location, like I had the receipts. They covered it up, they dusted it under the rug, they allowed him to resign and say that his brother was sick or something stupid. They let him backdate his resignation to just before I filed my complaint. And then they gave me a week off and said that I should be able to come back. They didn't want to take his pictures off the wall. So I was supposed to continue to show up every day and look at his stupid
No.
smiling face all over the wall of my department. So
My blood boy.
it was fun. Yeah.
Oh, Claudia. Oh yeah, that enrages me. I'm so saddened, but I'm also maddened. Do you know, like it
Yeah.
makes me,
Yes.
I feel that for you. And just as like as a beautiful, I can see that you're vibrant. I can see that you are just like that girl. And that what there is not a recognition of is like the spark or yourself, the toll that people would think that that's okay.
Right.
And it's minimizing you, it's making you small, it's like a structure that is set up that you are to take the brunt of it, not whom did it to you.
Exactly. And, I spent years not talking about it. So this happened in 2017, and years, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. And then a couple years ago, I was like, wait, I didn't do anything wrong.
No,
Like, why
yes,
am I
ma'am.
not, why am I ashamed to speak? I'm not the monster here. And that's when I said, you know what, I'm going to speak out and at least share what I've been through, because people need to understand in small departments, terrible things happen. And also in small departments, in small towns, the towns will often seek to cover it up because they don't want the reputation of their tiny little perfect town to be smeared. And so this is what they do.
It's just disgusting. But then like and I feel like the same thing with Kelsey is gonna happen. Like look at you today. Like you, like when I say like you are a badass, you are a badass. And so like you would have still been a badass, but like it takes it to a whole nother level. Like I think those type of things really make warriors out of us.
Mhm.
And you experience something that no one should, but are able to turn it into a positive in the rest of your life. And this is exactly what Kelsey's going to be able to do when all this is all said and done. And she's going to be that badass queen too.
I totally agree with you. And I think we talked about this on your last fundraiser, and then I'm going to dip out. But, I'm sure that she sits there a lot of moments and wonders why, why me? Why did this happen? I would literally curl up on my kitchen floor and cry at night. Because I didn't want to live anymore, and I'm sure she's had those moments, and all I can say to her or anyone else that is going through something and you don't know why, and you just want to curl up and go away, there is a reason, and it may not make sense today, and it may still hurt really bad, but one day you will understand it. And for me and for Kelsey, it's because now I have the ability to speak out. I have the ability to share what I went through and show it doesn't break you. Like, you don't have to be broken anymore. You can put yourself back together with like a lot of duct tape and super glue.
Yeah.
and be amazing. And she's going to have that ability too. And the lesson that she will be able to teach her child/children going forward will be life-changing. And so I hope, if she's listening, that is the reason, and it doesn't make it easier to deal with, and it doesn't make it suck any less, but she is a badass and will be able going forward to share what she learned to help other people.
Yes. Ah, so well said. It's true. It really is true. I know that, if she's not here right now, like, they do listen to these streams and they really appreciate it. So that will mean, no doubt, so much to her.
Thank you so much for sharing too, because this is my first time hearing this from Claudia. And like, I mean, Miss Ma'am, thank you. Because like, if I know that you're hanging out with Lauren, I know that you are by definition a real one. And just to hear it, and to hear your strength, and to hear your ability to turn a mess that was done unto you, not because of you or in spite of you, but turn that into a message, and to raise your voice for other women, and to make them know that you're not alone, and like, don't check out. You just like walk through the fire, keep walking through hell, and you'll get out the other side. You are everything. Thank you so much. And it's a pleasure, my honor to meet you today. Like, meet you online.
Right back at you. I've heard so many wonderful things about you. So I'm happy to be here alongside of you, because I know you have done some absolutely amazing things with your voice, and people could not be where they are today without people speaking up. And so for you having the courage and the capacity to do that literally has changed lives. Literally.
And that's a thing. We all have the ability to do it. And sometimes it's scary, but like, we all can do it. And it doesn't matter if it touches one person or if it touches 1,000 people. And we sometimes don't know, we don't know what it can actually do to encourage someone. So I'm so happy that you guys both are here as females. This is what it's about: women supporting women, strong women supporting other strong women, and growing other strong women. And so I just love that. And then we have our wing king here, and what every man should strive to be.
Wing king.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, but thank you so much, Claudia. I know you have to run. You're doing closing arguments. So, bye. Love you. And we will talk soon.
Yes, Nurse Kim, we'll connect. Maza, love you. Lauren,
Love you.
always amazing.
Yes.
Everybody, donate for Kelsey.
Yes.
She needs your support. If you can't donate money, donate your time and your connections. So share this out. Everybody can do something. So thank you, Lauren, and I will see you guys soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Claudia.
Bye.
It's her story. Yeah, her story is absolutely incredible. When I first heard that, I was like, oh my God. Like, she has not only seen the corruption, but like the worst of the worst has happened to her. It's like inspiring, her story. So.
Yeah.
So much so. Like, that is, can you, babe, like, I need a minute. Like, I'm like, I have to process what I just, you know what I mean? Like, do I have to now go? Do I have to go and like go watch her thing? Like, I'm going to have to go see everything. I'm going to have to go back, watch everything from the last fundraiser. I just want to hear all of it, because it's rare. We don't have that, Lauren. Like, we don't have that many women. If I think about it, right? It's like all of us just putting ourselves out there, trying to be like, let's lift each other up. Let's keep going. We keep fighting for each other because it could be us. And then you see somebody who's just like Claudia, that you're like, oh my gosh, she's had the really actual worst things that could happen to you at the hands of another officer. Like, the only other worst thing is what? Being shot or killed by another one. Like, I mean, hello. And what I think, how not alone must Kelsey feel when she sees Claudia talk? Like, I feel less alone. Or when she sees you on a screen doing this for her, or when she knows that Maza is doing something for a fundraiser, so that she knows that she has people who are in her corner and who only want justice for what was done to her, to her son, to that entire family, sans Justin, what has happened here. And that we are going to continue to fight for her to get to the bottom of it and ensure that potentially this can't happen to anyone else ever again, not on our watch. When we
Right.
are awakened to it, we don't stop. You know this, lovies. Like, chat, lovies, everyone. You know that once we get a hold of something and our eyes are open to it, it's like, oh no, now I can't look the other way ever again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Agreed. Strongly agree. That's, kind of with the Karen Reed case. It's, a lot of people were asking me during jury deliberation, not during the second Karen Reed case, not during the second one, but the first one. People were actually asking me, like, Mazza, what case are you going to follow next? And I said, well, I don't know. I don't know if this is something I'm going to, continue to, I don't know how, other than Karen Reed, I don't know if I'm going to follow any other cases. And from time to time, I'd say, well, I have to have a certain, like, drive in me, to follow a case. And this one kind of came up. It was brought to my attention. And, someone I know very well reached out to me and said, hey, look, you got to start following this case. They're telling me, I follow this case. This one's nuts. You got to look into it. Like, for me, it's like I connect this off police corruption. Like, that's what I'm always up against, is like the police corruption, people isolating someone and basically making them the fall person. That happened to John O'Keefe. It happened to Karen Reed. It's happened to Kelsey Fitzsimmons. Sandra Birchmore. You look at how her life was ended through all of the, what happened there. These are crazy situations. And for someone like myself that was never a true crime or would only listen to news stories like everybody else, this was not something I'd ever thought I'd be YouTubing about, quite honestly. But this was another story where I said, like, when I sit down and I say, okay, this story is really getting me upset. And I don't mean like crying. I mean like righteous anger. I don't really express that anger often unless I get spicy every now and then. But, I just try to channel it into positive, production. And I saw her story and I'm like, this is absolutely wild. And like I said, you look at a police department that has a documented history of mediating with a former officer over discrimination in the police department, and you see what's happened, what Claudia shared about in Colorado. And these are things that happen all across the U.S., not in every department, but in some of them. Some may say all of them, perhaps. I don't know. I can't speak for all of them, but still, this is something that happens very common. And, and I think that's what draws interest in these stories, is that people look at, like the Karen Reed case, for example. How many women have had a relationship? A lot, and they can identify with a woman in that situation. They can identify with a woman who basically is the mean girl of the hallways that lives in Canton, that is conspiring against you. These are captivating stories because of their level of dynamic. And I don't mean drama in an entertaining sense, but drama in the sense of the level of chaos, the level of newsworthiness that's in these stories. And for Kelsey, I just feel like this is a story that deserves that amplification. This is a woman that was shot, had her baby not only taken away from her, but she hasn't seen her baby since that day in June. And you look at the calendar right now, where we rocketed through the spring, to the fall, through the holidays, through the new year. Now we're talking about the Super Bowl. Now, before you know it, we're going to be talking about the spring. The clocks are going to spring forward. It's going to be Memorial Day before you know it. Before you know it, it could be a year or longer before she sees her kid. This is all because, like I said, this situation could have gone down a lot more smoothly than it did. But powers that be did what they did. And I accept the reality of that. But I also accept the reality of what people like all of us can do. There's Kim Mullenlaw, who's in the chat. Our host tonight, Lauren. Please subscribe to our channel. We can all pitch in. We can all help out. We can all do what we can do. But this is what takes me back to the Karen Reed case. The biggest message that I learned from Karen Reed supporters, fellow Karen Reed supporters, was one of the most common things people always said was, anybody could be Karen Reed.
Yeah.
And I'll add to that, anybody could be John O'Keefe. And I'll add this footnote. I truly believe Kelsey Fitzsimmons is a variation of Karen Reed and John O'Keefe. She's a physical victim like John O'Keefe was. Fortunately, no lethal, she was not murdered. And then for Karen Reed, she's similar to her in a sense that she's basically going down as the patsy in all of this, the fall person on all of this, where Karen Reed was blamed for John O'Keefe's murder. Kelsey Fitzsimmons is essentially being faulted with or blamed for trying to open fire on a fellow officer. Well, there's no documented proof of that, similar to how there was no proof documented in a physical sense by camera or ring footage that Karen Reed had ever backed up a vehicle. And it's a he said, she said. It's tough to prove, but then again, there's allegedly a lot of cameras in that house. And if that camera so much has picked up audio, because it's already documented that he said, Kelsey, don't do it. Noonan said, Kelsey, don't do it. Why would he say don't do it? He probably would say, put down the gun now if she was trying to shoot. If you say don't do it, like if someone's going to jump off a building, don't do it. Don't jump. That's how you probably present it. So this is, this is another story where I look at this to me is another Karen Reed story. And Karen Reed, there's been many of Karen Reed's in history, I'm sure. I mean, you look at the Salem witch trials alone in Massachusetts and what happened to many women who lost their lives. And then look at the irony that this case is taking place in Salem, Massachusetts in modern times. It's definitely concerning. For me, I like to advocate for people. But this is a situation where I think this, woman needs our help. And again, I mean, you look at just everything she's facing, it's just insane. Just from being shot, having her kid taken away, not even having the opportunity for a fair custody battle to take place prior to an RO being served and watching your child be taken away like it's Ghostbusters 2. If anyone remembers that movie where they snatch Oscar the child and the kid gets taken off, and it happened in the movie Labyrinth. I always reference movies. It's a nice way to relate to things, but you watch these movies and you see it happening in real life. You're like, because when you watch a movie, you're like, man, I hope that never happens in real life. Then you watch a movie, or babies are being kidnapped in the movie Labyrinth, Ghostbusters 2. Then you see what's happening to Kelsey Fitzsimmons. And it's like, this is horrifying that this would actually happen in real life. And I disagree with how it went down, obviously, but it's sickening. But I think, again, if this can happen to anyone, or anyone can be Karen Reed, if we so chose to help and fight and advocate and support Karen Reed, then it's the same thing we must do with Kelsey Fitzsimmons. And I think everybody that has participated in these fundraisers and raising awareness and sharing posts, please share this video that's live right now. Encourage everybody to tune in if you can, to encourage people to donate tonight. And this is a situation where we don't want Kelsey to be alone. And I think that you can already see her and her family are very grateful. But I'd like to continue increasing our numbers, which is great. You look at the Facebook group, it's gained over 1,000 followers, I think, in the last few weeks. It's over 8,000 as of recently. That group's doing a fantastic job. There's some fantastic moderators over there. The $30 Super Bowl square is sold out. There's a $10 Super Bowl square thing contest going on right now. And if our mods have that link, you can post it in the chat. It's a long link. I went to the link earlier, Lauren. I couldn't post it because it has a lot of characters. But if you're part of the Facebook group, it's there. I also shared it on my Twitter page, and it's also on the Justice for Kelsey Fitzsimmons page on X as well. I can share that link in just a moment. I'll yield back my talking time.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, no, and I think quite a few people have jumped on. I think some other streams might be over now. So if you're just joining, we're doing a fundraiser. This was a last minute thing, but we were lucky enough to have amazing guests like Maza and Nurse Kim and Claudia, who's left us. I know Nurse Kim has to run, but we are so thankful that you were able to come and be on with us and share your expertise with Kelsey's injuries and all of that. So thank you for all that you do and being a voice for her and a voice for women just in general. So we love you and thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, you guys are the best. Maza, I will always be a Maza maniac. Can't help myself. Hashtag can't stop, won't stop. You are the man that we should all aspire to be. I want to see your wings tomorrow on Sunday, not tomorrow.
Oh,
I can't wait to see them. Lauren, you have been just an angel since day one. I said this to you in a text message, and it is, I know where you stand. I see you. I see your passion. I see your commitment, and I see your intelligence and integrity all the time in every stream and in every post, always where you are. Thank you for having me. And I just, to everyone out there, lovies, to the chat, to everyone else, if you have a small $5, $10, whatever it is, this matters. You know it. You know that Kelsey is in a fight for not only herself, but for her child, her future, and for facing what she is and this corruption and a way in which a process failed her so profoundly in the summer of 2025 that she could have not only lost her job and had her child taken from her, ripped from her while she is breastfeeding, but rather could have lost her life. And it could have never been discussed, and we could have never, ever known about it had this gone a different way. So
Yes.
I want to know what happened. You want to know what happened. And this web, I'm telling you, babes, when you get the spidey sense, and we all have it in this case, the web that has weaved in this, we will find out. We will continue to dig. We will continue to look, and we will not stop because we have Kelsey's back. Okay. I love your faces. I thank you for having me, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you,
Bye, Jessica.
Kimmy.
Take care.
We love her, and thank her so much for joining us. Maza, how are you doing on time? Do you have another like 30 minutes that
I can
no
go right through
pressure?
9 o'clock. I can go right through 9 o'clock with you.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I
let's
was
do
committed
it.
to at least 2 hours. Yeah.
Okay. And I
Yeah,
know this
yeah.
was last minute. I know
Yeah.
me and Maza were talking this week, and I wasn't even going to do one because, like, Maza just had his on the weekend, but her trial is next month, guys. Like, it's going to
Yep.
be here, guys. And if we can provide her more funds, I mean, I don't think anyone really understands how expensive a trial is. And there's no telling what's going to happen in the trial. Are they going to have to get witnesses mid-trial? Like, we don't know. And we saw that in the Karen Reed case, and they had to, fly them in for experts. And so she really needs help. And so even if it's $5, if everybody donated $5, that really adds up. And this Super Bowl squares, they now have them. They've sold out. The other ones, they have the $10 ones, and it's kind of a win-win for everyone because Kelsey, I think, gets 400, and then the winner gamble and bet on the Super Bowl. Like, it's a fun thing, and it's for a great cause. We tried to post the link in here, but for whatever reason, it was so long that it wasn't going to let either of us tag it to pin it. So we can drop those in the chat every once in a while too. So if you'd like to join the Super Bowl squares, I know Aiden has some of those going too, and they were a big hit. And it's just a fun thing, and you're helping support Karen, or you're helping to support Kelsey. And then you can also donate directly to her defense fund, which is pinned in the top of the chat too.
Sounds good. I'm gonna post some info on the next. There's some questions in the chat about the next hearing, so I'm posting some info right now. There we go.
Perfect.
Right
Yeah,
there in
that's
the
another
chat.
thing. If you guys are local, please go. Like, she needs all the support. It really helps boost her. And this and the doctor visits are the only time that she gets to get out of the house and see that, like, sunshine and have these interactions with people right now. I mean, she can't even go in her backyard. Like, that to me is just heartbreaking. So it means so much to her, not only to have their people supporting her, but to have that interaction, give her a hug and, like, tell her you support her, like that. I know it's very like, it touches her heart. And so if you can do that and go and support, it means a lot. And I know it also means a lot to the defense attorneys as well, who are also working really hard on her case. And we got a new total of 70, and that is awesome. Listen, any amount is good, and I will take it because we just want to help. Like in any amount, it adds up. So if you're able to do that today, that's amazing. If not, please share and go join the Facebook group. Talk to your coworkers at lunch tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but Monday. Like just get her case out there, because when you hear about it, you're pissed and you really want to like do something. And it is one of those cases that kind of sticks with you. Like Maza said, it brings out like that fire, and you want to follow it and you want to help support her. And there's some of those, but they're not, there's few and far between. And to have an actual innocent person, or, in my opinion, she didn't do anything. So just go and support Kelsey if you can. That means a lot to her and her family.
And yes, people can also write to Kelsey as well. There are some details I can put in the chat. It's P.O. Box 16 in Reading, Massachusetts, 01867. If you want to send her words of encouragement, just gratitude, and just support, anything you want to do, you can write to her at that address. I'll post the P.O. Box right here. Alice in Wonderland's here today. Not Alice in Wonderland, but Allison Wonderland is here today in the P.O. Box I just drew up. Sometimes I try to click it to put it on the screen, and I realize, wait a second, this is not my show. I'm a guest. Like, why is it not popping on screen?
I wish it would let you, because I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So
yeah, you're doing a good job.
No, I just think like there's so much to come out in this case, and man, I cannot wait for it. I know we're gonna find, hopefully that the Commonwealth is following the discovery guidelines and giving them all of the discovery, because as soon as they get that, then they can really work on their case, or even sooner to trial. The last thing we want to hear like Monday is that they haven't received all the discovery, and then God forbid the date have to be pushed back anymore for her trial. So I hope that is on track and that they're being ethical about that.
It'd be nice to say the least.
Yeah, and it sucks to have to even think that way, but after the stuff we've seen with Karen's, trial, like I wouldn't doubt it. And then all of the shenanigans that, in my opinion, are going on in this case, man, I don't know. But I just have a really good feeling about this, and I think, we want to get justice for Kelsey, but it's also justice for Caden, because he doesn't have, he hasn't had his mom in almost a year. He is turning 1 this month. And I can't think about it too long, because it really it makes me so sad and also mad. Like, it's just unforgivable that he hasn't had his mother in his life for this long. So that's another aspect to this case. There's so many different levels and layers to it. But the truth will come out about that as well. And we can all be excited for the day when Kelsey gets to speak, because that has not happened yet.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking for, that's the thing about the Karen Reed case in comparison, is that we learn so much even to this day of information that comes out. As much as we know, there's always something more. And when we look at this case, this case has not even gone through one trial yet. It's just starting to get going. And I don't know, what we can expect, because there's going to be a lot of, moments like, wow, I did not know this. Wow, I did not know that. And we just went up to $94 in donations. Thank you guys. Thank you
Thank you so much.
There's a lot here. And, like when Kelsey or family, they're watching us, they know the whole story, but they can't say anything. Yeah. Attorney Bradel, Martha Coakley, they know the whole story, but they can't say anything. It was so similar with Karen Reed. She couldn't say anything. We'd see her parents, wonderful people, but they can't say it because this thing is going to be kept. They can't let certain things out. It's like the Patriots and the Seahawks getting ready for the Super Bowl right now. You see them, they might answer media questions, but they can't talk about the game plan. They can't tell you what plays they're going to run or what they're going to do to start the game. It's going to be a secret. So sometimes that can be tough, because I'm sure that, Kelsey would like to just stand up and just say this, and that. But at the same time, when you're taking on, a prosecutor in a trial, it's like a game of poker. You don't want to reveal your hand. You don't want to show them your cards. You want to keep your poker face on and keep a nice, even keel presentation, which is difficult because it's tough. Even Karen, when she stood up on the courthouse steps 3 years ago, we know who did this, but she couldn't say who. She couldn't give you more details. But then when you get to trial, you start to see this evidence come out. You start to see this information presented. Like, oh my goodness. You get an expert that maybe shows you something you long thought, but presents it in a way that is far more expansive than we originally thought of it in. And it's similar with Kelsey's case. If there's, we just saw the video cameras. I knew of at least there being one camera in the house. I've heard it through the pipeline. I've heard it through the grapevine. It's been said on a few shows, of course, that there was at least one. I did not know there was a camera of the entryway. It could be more in the house potentially. We don't know. But I've heard, from what I understood, there was a camera somewhere in the house, at least. And if that camera's in that hallway outside that bedroom, if that captures anything, this is a quick case. This is a quick, here it is on camera. Kelsey clearly picks up the firearm, even if there's audio, like even if it's just like a hallway shot of like a staircase or a door, and maybe the room's off to just the side, like kind of like off camera like this, and you can hear the talking, then, that audio would be admissible, right? And then if it says, Kelsey, don't do it, maybe he says more than they admitted to, right? Maybe he said more than they said, maybe he said, Kelsey, don't do it, but there could be more information, on that audio. There now information is coming in the comments here. Karen says, do baby monitors record? And Leah says, baby monitors are online now through apps. If that's the case, even if they weren't able to initially retrieve that data, if they can contact the company, they probably, all this has been thought of, I'm sure. They can obviously try to obtain that audio. And if that's admissible in court, it's just like that the prosecution using Karen Reed's voice message to John O'Keefe in court. That's information that's pertinent. And, I'd imagine the defense is going to play it if they haven't, because why not? If they know she's innocent. And the only thing she'd be guilty of is pulling a firearm and putting it to her own head. But that's it, and I just think they have a lot of aces up their sleeve. I really do. They probably got some kings and queens and some jacks too, that they have. And they're gonna know exactly what they need to do, how they need to do it. I think Bradel looks really confident. Bradel, where Bradel's represented Aiden, he's represented Kelsey. He always has I think Bradel's very honest. He's similar to Alan Jackson, Liza Little, David Yannetti, Bob Alessi, Mark Betterow. He's a very forthcoming attorney. He's very confident in his abilities. And I think Bradel, too, he's extremely personable. And I think he's an extremely honest person by nature. Most people look at attorneys and they say, oh, they're probably not good people. They're probably crooks. They probably just want your money. But I feel like Bradel, I don't know Bradel's history, but I feel like he's the kind of person that said, I want to be he probably wanted to be an attorney, but I think being a defense attorney, I understand all these attorneys make money. I get it. I don't know what pays more or whatever, but I feel like Bradel at the end of the day felt like, I think his motivating factor was that he enjoys helping people. He enjoys like supporting them, fighting for them, vouching for them. It's kind of his thing. And I think he does that with a very high level of honesty and sincereness. And he's passionate about these cases. And I feel like he looked at this and said, I want to represent Kelsey. I've heard her story. It's compelling. But this is someone that needs a high level defense. 1 second. When I talk too much occasionally,
I know, same.
But I feel like he believes in what he's saying, and I don't for a minute think Tim Bradel, and I can't speak for him, but I feel like he really is the kind of attorney to represent clients when he's talked to them, vetted the situation, said, okay, I can believe in your innocence. I believe that your fight, regardless of a win or a loss, is a fightable fight. And I see him as that kind of an attorney. And I buy into Tim Bradel a lot. I really do. I think he's a people's attorney, even though he's not a court-appointed attorney, right? He's a defense attorney, very great reputation. But I think that speaks volumes about Kelsey as well, that he represents her. And Kelsey is just like Karen. The truth will come out, she said when she got out on September 8th. The truth will come out, which is what Karen similarly said outside the courthouse steps. We know who did it. And Kelsey said the truth will come out. There's that level of honesty there. And I believe in you, Lauren, and your statement as well, when you say that, you believe things are going to come out of this very good. And I agree. And I think that not only that, but we look at Karen. Karen's days are a lot more brighter than they were a year ago. Civil suits, sure, no problem. It's going to happen either way. Her filing them coming her way, we get it. But the worst for Karen Reed's really over in terms of jail time, prison time, all that's off the books now. Now it's just dollars and cents and courtroom battles. And it's a great opportunity for Karen to really start to forward her innocence even more. And for Kelsey, she's really in what Karen Reed's situation was. Maybe the circumstances not as strong from a criminal, prosecution charges and things like that, but still a woman that has a lot to win here and will win. I do believe Kelsey's going to prevail. I just think that unfortunately in our legal system, these things take time. Karen's took a year longer than we expected, which was horrible, but I feel like Kelsey's in a situation where the truth is on her side. And I've said this before about Karen many times. The only thing stopping Karen Reed from being innocent was the length of the trial, getting to the trial, having the trial, and the jury rendering a verdict. And once that happens, it's not guilty. She's out the door. And that's what should have really happened in the first trial. That aside, I feel the same way about Kelsey Fitzsimmons. I think there's some discovery that Tim Bradle's team can get, utilize, and acquire. I think the biggest thing is the text messages from the police officers citing Michael Proctor and what happened with him and the things he had to say about Karen Reed that eventually got him fired. If there's any level of text messaging, and it may not just be that day, it could be in the days leading up to that. If there's any kind of discovery that shows there was a level of collusion involved in this, that the North Andover Police Department, and I'm not saying this is what happened, I'm just saying hypothetically, if this did happen and that's on the text, that's more information. That's also big for Kelsey Fitzsimmons if she, when she intends to sue, and I believe she will, file a, thank you for the 10 square purchases, Mama Bug. Thank you for helping Kelsey tonight.
Yay. Thank you, Mama Bug. That is amazing.
And yes, I think that, if there's a civil case, that those text messages are admissible in that civil case as well. So there's a lot to play with for Kelsey if there's enough discovery, if there's enough video, and if there's any level of collusion. Collusion is going to be the biggest thing. It's going to be big. And honestly, if she put the firearm to her own head and she got shot, that's a suit against the North Andover Police Department as well. Yep.
Absolutely. I mean, that opens up just you talking about what could possibly be in those text messages. Not only, if there is things like that, for her to have a strong civil suit if she wants to go that direction after this, I think she's got one hell of a case. But not only that, those things will go help her with her actual custody fight with Justin. If there was collusion between Justin and those officers, we know the fire department and the police department work hand in hand. Most of those people knew each other. So what, if any, to pull a Lally, was their conversations? And be careful what you wish for, because you want to bring all of this on Kelsey. Well, your life's about to be exposed too, Justin. So be careful what you wish for. Things come out when you don't want them to. And I think Kelsey has shown so much strength, because I know for me, I would want to be shouting my story to the rooftops, and that would probably be something that I really had to restrain myself from doing. But she will get a chance to tell her story, and I think it says volumes that we already are kind of seeing inconsistencies in what those police officers said that night. as to what happened, and the fact that the grand jury failed to indict her. They didn't believe. I mean, it really comes down to that. It's a one-sided, you can indict a ham sandwich. This had no defense in the grand jury. It's only the prosecutors presenting their case, and Noonan no doubt was there and testified. So they didn't believe him. So again, that there's no way that this doesn't go in her favor, in my opinion. And
I agree.
she has a lot to look forward to. And I know that is extremely hard to think of right now because of where she's at and the fact that her baby was ripped from her arms, and that was played and very deliberately planned out, in my opinion, by Justin. But that baby is going to love her for fighting, when he gets old enough to understand how things went. The internet is forever. He will know exactly what type of person his father is. And I kind of hate that for him. But at the same time, you reap what you sow. And you want to do that to your child. There's a big problem there. Like, your love for your child should be what is driving you, not your hatred for Kelsey for kicking you out of a house when you deserved it. So yeah, it's justice for Caden, because he needs his mom, and the quicker she gets over the criminal case, the sooner he will be back in her arms, and she will have at least half custody, like it should have been to begin with. Like you said, this is an easy thing.
Oh, thank you. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to cut you off, Lauren. Sorry.
No,
I was
you're
going to
fine.
say, I don't want to speak to their relationship details, but I try to avoid that when I talk. But the thing is that, once something like this happens in a relationship, it's not like you pick up the phone, you have a fight. I hate you. You're in the living room arguing. I hate you. Get your things and get the hell out. Or maybe, somebody throws something at somebody, like I don't know, soda can or something. People argue, right? But once it starts to get to in some relationships, physical assault, physical violence, I'm not saying that's what happened here, but those are usually situations that turn a relationship into the point of no return, right? Relationship-based abuse, physical assault, things like that. It's the point of no return. Well, at least to the best of my knowledge, there was no physical abuse either way, to the best of my knowledge. That's my understanding. What did happen was that Kelsey Fitzsimmons was shot because of all this. She was shot. And what's sad about this is if they had personally had, like I said, I can't speak to their relationship, whether it was already, whether it was months, say for example, it was months coming and finally it just ended. What's really tragic about this is that if there was any chance things could have been repaired between the two of them, or this could have been, reconciled or settled, or, maybe either they come back together as a couple, or, because they were engaged. I mean, they were engaged. And then it all came crashing down in a moment's notice, an absolute shock. But, what happens now is that, say they have a big argument and he says, well, you know what, I'm going to stick it to her and I'm going to do this. I'm going to get an RO. We're going to take the kid, bada, bada, boom, whatever. That's a pretty, in a relationship, that's an act of war. Okay. It is. It's the point of once people are starting to battle over their kid, that's hostile territory, and that's always in any separation. You got the marriage separation, and in a marriage, it's divorce, financial settlement, a house, who's getting the house, the vehicles in both people's names, or one, there's all things to sort out. But here, if there was any chance that maybe they just had a patch in their relationship where things got hot, and maybe after the RO had been served, if it was served successfully, if the North Denver Police Department did the appropriate job of handling the situation, you never know if there might have been an opportunity where the two of them might just, Justin might have said, you know what, I'm going to drop the restraining order. I've come to a change of heart. I think I went too far. Now all of a sudden, and I'm not saying he would or he would not do that. I'm just saying that once it gets to the point where Kelsey's actually shot, it's bad enough to have an RO placed on her where she can't communicate with you any further. But now that door can never be opened anymore, because now there is no like, all is forgiven. Let's get back together and raise this child together, and let's get married after all. That is all out the window. Like I said, even with that RO being served, that was more than enough. Even with the kid being taken out of the door, that was more than enough. But the real sad part is that this situation was no longer a situation between two people that were going to make a decision together. Even if they decided together to not be engaged anymore, even if they could have decided together to file for joint custody of the child, all that gets removed the moment that RO is served.
That's
and
right.
then it's way beyond the point of no return once it gets to the point of Kelsey being shot by another officer while that RO is being served. And that's the real tragedy. You feel for the child. You do, because this child is going to grow up, and at some point Kelsey's going to get joint custody, or we get some donations here. She's going to get joint custody of the child. And we're up to 164 now. Thank you for that donation. That would have been a combination.
You guys.
Yeah, no, it's great.
And
we can go a little bit longer if you want.
Yeah, let's do it. I feel like there was a lot of streams going on when we first started, and people have really come over. So Defense Fund is pinned at the top of the chat. And if you have $5 that you can spare, I know times are tough for everyone, but that really adds up. And if we have a chance to raise some funds for Kelsey, her trial starts next month. Please do that. And it's greatly appreciated by her and her family.
Just like Cheryl made that donation. Thank you, Cheryl, so much for that.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Appreciate that. It's great. Great news. Every bit helps, like Lauren said. But yes, getting back to Kelsey's story, once she's shot, I mean, like I said, let's just say he had an idea in his head, like, I'm just going to stick it to her. I'm going to file an RO. I'm going to get the kid, and, it's going to prove to her, what I can do. Let's just say it was a way of getting attention. Well, once that situation plays out, there's no return. It's just, once she, just like I said, you can't, there's no coming back from that. Thank you, Cheryl, for the 20 to Kelsey. That's all right. All the combinations add up together. You contributed to those 164 tonight. Great job. And Ron, I got wings. I got them thawing right now. I buy my wings a week early before the Super Bowl, because one year I bought them, tried to buy them the day before, and didn't get the wings I wanted. So I buy them the week before, throw them in the freezer. That way I just, today I took them out, after, when I got home, and there they go. They can thaw out now. So that's good. It's going to be barbecue, half barbecue and half garlic Parmesan's the plan. I never do buffalo in the Super Bowl.
Sounds amazing.
Thank you, Laura. But yeah, this whole situation is, like I said, you never want to be in a situation where you can't mutually make a decision, even if it's a decision where, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I don't want to raise this kid with you. Okay, that's a joint decision at the end of the day. When an RO is filed, when someone gets shot, this is now out of your hands. Now the government's involved.
Yeah.
I mean, Kelsey's fate is now, Kelsey's set of circumstances. I understand people will say, well, Kelsey's responsible for pulling a firearm out. I get that argument. I do. But at the end of the day, you have a situation in which, Lauren, if you accidentally removed yourself, you're going to have to add yourself back. You have a situation in which, I'm maybe repeating myself. I'm trying not to repeat the same thoughts over and over again. I apologize. But yeah, you have a situation in which is now controlled by other people. Kelsey's fate is now controlled by a judge, a jury, a judge who's already sent her to jail, to a correction facility in Western Massachusetts. These are the set of circumstances. Kelsey is now subjected to scram testing. and because she couldn't physically do it, she had to go to jail. And that's the real tragedy in all of this. And again, to a point I was going to make moments ago, you think about the kid 20 years down the road. This kid is pushing 1 year old, and very shortly. Actually, I believe the child may have already turned one. I'm not sure of the exact birthday. I know it's early in the year, but this child 20 years from now in 2046 is going to be 21 years old. And any kid growing up, by the time they get to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, 11 years old, they're going to start asking questions. They're going to start to ask about, because they're going to go to school and they're going to see, their buddy Danny, their friend Kayla or Sarah, at school being dropped off by their parents, or they're going to go over to their friend's house and, learn about parents having mommies and daddies. And they're going to say, well, why aren't my parents together? What happened? And that story is going to be told. And here's the thing. Stories on the internet. The stories on the internet. These trials are documented. This footage, the Karen Read case, those trials are going to be on YouTube forever, just like the O.J. Simpson trial. It's the same thing with, one second. It's the same thing with this story. This story is going to be, the news is going to be on the internet. This kid will one day grow up and do their research and figure out what's happened. And who knows what the reaction is going to be to that. But I hope in the future, Kelsey's able to acquire joint custody through family court when that gets taken. That's happening, I think, in May or June. And she has that opportunity to, fight for at least joint custody of the child. If she goes for all of it, I don't blame her at all. I know the $10 came in. That brings us up to 174 in donations. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 174 right now. Okay, so Lauren, what you need to do is there should be you should see the little images in the bottom of the StreamYard. It says devices not connected. So what you want to do is you want to exit StreamYard, re-enter, and then once you enter, you want to make sure you turn your camera on and your microphone on. Once you do that, it should let you right back in. Just make sure you enter the studio from the StreamYard main page. And $174 on donations. Looks like we had, I forgot who now had made a $10 donation. Listen to me, about 10 squares for the Super Bowl squares, which is going on. If you're a part of the Facebook group, leave the studio and come back in. Something must have got disconnected there. Leave the studio, then come right back in. And the popcorn sales did very good. That was a $5,000 goal. I believe that was within about $466 of hitting goal. So roughly $4,500 was raised, which was fantastic news. Money's coming in through multiple ways for Kelsey, which is fantastic. That's, again, the art of the raising money for Karen Read. There she is. She's back.
This is why I need you, Malza, because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
Yep.
No, I was trying to turn my camera off because I wanted to go get some more water.
You removed yourself.
And
is what you did.
Turns out I don't have it. It just says devices not connected. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you might have disabled. There's a little camera image at the bottom of the screen, and it does this. It changes. Then there's blocking in. Yeah, you want to hit the one at the bottom. If you hit remove, then that's going to remove you from the main screen, and that's what happened to you. As soon as you went down, I'm like, I think she's self-removed. She's self-rejected. That's the first time in the history of any YouTube show where the host has actually banned themselves.
I didn't know that was possible.
Yeah.
It's me. Oh man. Okay. Okay. Well, sorry about that, guys.
That's all right. It happens.
Oh, thank you for this. No, it is definitely for a good cause. What better cause than corruption and helping someone, battle against that. So thank you. Yeah. What were you saying, Maza? I know I cut you off with the.
No, it's okay.
back in.
No, I'm just saying, like, the future of this child is it's not like, like I said, it's bad enough when there's a lot of kids that struggle with their parents getting divorced, or only knowing one parent their whole life. But a lot of times that can just simply be because irreconcilable differences. People don't get along, they don't gel, they have a kid, it doesn't work out. That's tough to deal with for a lot of kids. It is. Some kids, maybe they just side with the one parent, perhaps. I don't know, I can't speak for every kid, but in this situation, this child's going to look back and see a situation that got really out of control. With the North Andover Police Department, where Kelsey was nearly fatally shot. And if that bullet hit the right spot, because again, she had no bulletproof vest on in her home, but this is, if that could have been fatal, it could have hit her throat. If it hit her throat, she's dead. It hits her heart, she's dead. It hits a lung and she can't recover from breathing. I can't imagine that child in the future seeing this. But like I said, this is the problem with the North Andover Police Department handling it the way they did. Because like I said, I know we want to villainize the father of the child in this. I know we want to look at him in a negative light. Totally understand it. But realistically, that RO being served and how it was served, the burden of that is on the North Andover Police Department. Yeah. So we can look at him and say, I can't believe he'd do this to Kelsey, he'd take the kid, boom, 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 whatever. But the grand scheme of things, it's the North Andover Police Department's handling of this. And that's why I always say the North Andover Police Department are the most at fault for all of this. Because at the very least, if they serve the RO, they take the kid out, it's a custody battle. It's a family court matter. It's a terrible situation, but it's not a Kelsey gets shot. Kelsey needs surgery. Kelsey goes to jail. Kelsey is under home arrest. It just, that blame rests on them. Because I'll be honest, if this shooting never happens, we're not here talking about this. No. Kelsey and him are just another couple of many that are battling it out in family court in the history of the United States of America. It's a case that, it's hundreds of those that go on every day across this country. We never hear about it. We never know the details. We never care to look into them. They just happen, and that's it. And that's what should have really happened here. This should have just been, like I said, that. And like I said, that's where you can't fault the relationship partner there. I don't like to mention names, but that's where you look at that and say, okay, well, he's a bad fiance. What he did was dirty. He's got the kid that's hard. We can criticize him for that. North Andover Police Department, they're the ones that opened fire on her. They're the ones claiming she turned the firearm on herself. That's what caused her to go to jail, have to take scram devices, couldn't take it because she was, having issues. The judge unjustly sends her back to jail. That's all that's why I'm kind of fired up about the police department more, because again, that's where the escalation takes place. And it's tough because, like I said, if the father of the child at any point just said, hey, you know what, I have a change of heart here. I just feel like, maybe me and her had a bad argument. Maybe I went too far with the RO. Maybe I went too far with whatever. Maybe I just need to, you can't have that. That choice really isn't in play anymore. Because again, at the end of the day, Kelsey's sitting there, and every time she looks at her body, there's going to be destroyed skin there. There's a permanent wound on that body. I got scars all over my body from different sports, hiking, cat scratches, all that stuff. Nothing too crazy, but you get scars throughout life. It's a bullet. I had to bleep out my own swear. It's a bullet hole. She was shot. And that's just where you sit there and you say, my goodness, that's the point of no return. And it's sad because, my attitude is I always want to see everybody. I want the best for everybody. I hate to see their relationship end the way it did. I hate to see what happened to the child happen, but it's tough. And Mullen Law adds to it here by saying, I talk about the chances of him ever having a change of heart being out of the equation. But to go off Mullen Law's point, the grandparents have to fight through the system just to see the child. This is, I mean, that's where the argument comes in too. Lauren, I'll kick back to you.
No, I mean, you're right. There's in my mind, two different layers to this. There's the Justin family law, normal like custody battle that would be going on. It would probably not be real pleasant, but that happens every day. And then there's the mishandling of this whole entire situation by the North Andover police. And, that is, she could have very well lost her life. And not only that, because of their failure to follow literally simple 101 procedures of going to secure the firearms that, by the way, they knew she had because she had just returned to the job. They knew she was clear. They knew she had at least one gun going into that house. So because they didn't do that, she was shot. And not only that, everyone else was a risk for being shot or having a ricochet in that home that was there. So, this whole thing was mishandled so badly, so poorly. And to think that they couldn't be bothered to go downstairs, secure, and see if there was anything down there, and then have a conversation, that you do that before you start anything else. Because guess what? When you pull out that RO and you tell her why you're there, that's when things escalate. So you do that first. That is like 101. It is just it makes me so angry. And speaking on the whole point of, people break up, people, relationships end. Yeah, absolutely. Once you play dirty like that and you put an RO on, the mother of your child who you were engaged to, and you were going to plan on getting engaged, plan on the wedding just weeks prior to this, I can only imagine that something else that didn't help it is that Justin ran out of the house when she gets shot. He didn't run up there. He didn't, as a firefighter, as a trained medical professional, he didn't run up there to see how his, fiance was, who he had just, had things ended between them hours, possibly a day or two at the most. Like, to think that you don't still love that person to some capacity to go up to like try to render aid. I just, show me who you are and believe that, because that is exactly what he did. And again, all of this stuff is forever. The internet is forever. And that baby should not have to know that his father, in my opinion, is a piece of trash. And I know, Mazza, you are so much better of a person to not say those things. But I see right through it. And so for me to like not speak on it, I feel like not authentic. Because I just, from day one, I see what he's doing. And he did this to try to get out of something that was going to be done because of something he created. Like, I believe that in my heart of hearts. And I think that we will all see that. And, to not have enough love and compassion for the mother of your child, to keep the grandparents away from your child is disgusting. Like, then because you're starting to look bad in the eye of public opinion, to hire a PR firm to try to get your, image back up. How about just being a decent human? Like, how about giving the grandparents visitation? How about like being reasonable? People, like you said, people break up every day. Like, why are you being vindictive and trying to hurt her? Like, shame on you. Like, I don't know. I feel bad for the new girlfriend, because from what I've heard, there is one, and that's terrifying.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I've heard that as well. That's for sure. It's a sad situation for Kelsey. We obviously can't reiterate that enough. I just think that this woman's been through absolute hell. I mean, this is the equivalent of being thrown down a damn ditch. In the desert, and trying to climb out of something similar to the Grand Canyon. Just getting the worst of life. You know, life could always be worse. I mean, she could have been killed. Thank God she was not. But, you know, you have a relationship that's over. You know, at some point, you know, there was a level of excitement about having that child. That all goes out the window in a moment. You lose a fiance, you lose a child, and also your health is also impacted. And then on top of it, now, based on the set of circumstances and how they played out, you know, now all of a sudden you're facing jail time. You're facing a trial. It's just wildly out of control. And you know, like I said, I think the worst thing Kelsey went through all of this was actually, in my opinion, it's maybe a tough sell, because I think her not seeing her child is really the worst. But I think at the end of the day, regardless of what happened, if the RRO had been served and they took the child, she still wouldn't see the child anyway. That's kind of my argument when I say I think the worst of it for her was actually being in jail, when she couldn't get to the medical facility to get surgery. You know, obviously not seeing her kids, horrible, but it would have been a circumstance that she was fighting against regardless of what's happened. At least that's my understanding. I might be wrong in some places, but there might be other people that say, hey, no, actually you're wrong. You know, they probably could have maybe gone to family court sooner. Maybe that could have been in play. I don't know the details, but I won't elaborate.
I think Lori, that you had on your fundraiser, said it would have happened just sooner, but because it's been pushed
out. That makes sense. Yeah,
a shame, just horrible.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. And I was saying, and I'm like, I wonder if it would have happened sooner. But yeah, like I said, this woman's been through the worst of things. But I thought the worst of it for her was actually being in that jail. At least when she's home, you know, they can have that, you know, because the mother was interviewed after one of the hearings there a couple of weeks. I think it was in December, maybe early January, and said that, you know, we can't even talk to her other than a certain amount of times per week. You know, she had a limited ability to talk to her attorney. At least she can call them whenever she wants from home. So at least when she's at home, you know, she's contained there, but it's a base of operations. There's a way to communicate. There's a way. My headset feels a little tight tonight. There's a base of operation. There's a base of ability to go to the hospital when you need to. Formulate a game plan and actively talk with your parents. If your parents need to leave the house, run a couple errands, talk to a lawyer, or, you know, drop off some documents or print stuff up. And, you know, obviously people can email them in PDFs, but still, you know, you have more wiggle room now, at least in the present situation she's in, to prepare for the battles that are to come. So I thought, like I said, because all these circumstances are happening anyways, it's just insult to injury to be in jail on top of all of that. At least now she's back home, you know, for the last, I think it's been before Christmas, just before Christmas, you know, at least now she can be in an engagement, you know, in a reasonable manner. But just being in the jail was just, for me, the worst of it. It was just, like I said, equivalent of being in a ditch. But the last time we saw her on camera, physically looked the best she's looked. She looked a lot more, you know, upright. She looked a lot more stronger. She looked a lot more confident. She looked a lot happier. And she looked very happy when she got out of jail as well. Yeah. But, you know, in December, but she looked, the last time we saw her, a lot more confidence, a lot less burden on her. And I think that right now that was the first step in her path forward. And now it's like Karen Reed now. Now it's like, okay, this is the situation. This is what's happening. Let's start to just get these battles won in court now. Let's go to the hearing on Monday morning at 10 o'clock at Essex Superior. Do what we got to do. Let's get ready for trial. Let's get ready for family court in a few months. It's a difficult situation. It's a horrible situation. But just like with Karen Reed, you know, the number one thing you got to do is accept these horrible circumstances, as crazy as they are. Get your head to accept what's going on. And I believe she's done this a long time ago, in fact. And you just start to say, okay, this situation is horrible. It's a nightmare. I hate it. But I understand and not accept it as I'm happy it happened. Accept it as and this is reality. This is actually happening. That's what I mean by accept it. And and then you just start to move forward. And I think that her attorneys, her paralegal, Courtney Healy, Martha Coakley by her side, these people are getting her the legal counsel that she needs, the support she needs, and they're going to start driving forward now. It's like being down in a game. It's like the Patriots when they're down 28-3 in the Super Bowl. You get a touchdown. You get another field goal. It was 28-3. Now it's 28-12. You get the turnover. You get another touchdown. That's basically the situation she's in now. Is you gotta? It's like use football as an example. Get the ball. Start pushing the ball down the field. Get your field goals. Get your touchdowns. Get turnovers when you're on defense. That's where she is right now. It's comeback time. Mm-hmm. But the most difficult part is like people like herself, Karen Reed, are always placed in situations where they have to play from behind because there's the charges, there's the accusations, there's the set of circumstances, and you have to start to assemble the pieces. And David Dinetti had talked about in a documentary, they didn't even know about a lot of what may have gone on. And that could be the same situation here. If there's any level of collusion and that gets unearthed in discovery, this is big time. This story, it kind of got a huge bump when she was sent back to jail. That's when I really got involved a lot more. But if this discovery comes out that there's a lot of text messages and there's a conspiracy or collusion here to have what happened to Kelsey and that baby, if that all proves out to be true, this story is going to start to get the coverage from local media that we've all been hoping for a long, long time, because they loved the Michael Proctor story on these local networks. I might be freezing right now. Just give me a moment. I apologize.
Oh, no worries. No worries. I just wanted to address this comment by Gwen. It was very kind. Great surprise to find you too. Yeah. I'm very sorry I can't donate. My prayers are with you. First of all, Gwen, thank you. That's a huge compliment. And we're happy you found us too, because that means you've hopefully found this case maybe for the first time. I don't know. But you don't have to donate. Like trust me, we get times are tough. And if you can't, we don't want you to. We get it. But the family, Kelsey's family, does very much believe in prayers. And welcomes prayers for her strength and to get through this and all of that. And also there's the Justice for Kelsey Fitzsimmons Facebook group that you can join. There's 8,000 members now. Share a post if you're on Twitter, share a post if you're on Facebook. All of that stuff helps. So you don't have to, necessarily donate a financial amount. Every little bit helps. Talk about this case, get it out there. And that's more than enough. So thank you, Gwen.
Yes, thank you, Gwen, for that. We appreciate it. And great, well said, Lauren. That's exactly the attitude, the message to send to people. It's an encouraging message. I think that's one of the great things we can do is encourage people. And also say, if you can't support financially, here are other ways that you can support and you can help out. And I think word of mouth is one of the biggest things we can do. That is for sure. Well said, Lauren.
Maza, I believe she lost her health insurance as well, didn't she? I
think I did hear, I don't know that for a fact, but I do believe I heard that.
Okay.
I do believe I heard that. Yep.
Which is also a crime in itself, because we know even she had another surgery after she was able to get out of prison or out of jail. Just a couple months ago. So like she still has ongoing care and ongoing surgeries and things like that she is having to have done. And, she was lucky to survive this. And not only that, she is court ordered to see a psychiatrist multiple times a week, which, I'm sure she doesn't mind. She was always proactive in wanting to get in that great headspace again after Caden was born, after she dealt with some postpartum. But that is expensive, and to not have that covered by, a union with the police, that's a big deal. So every donation that you guys put forth, and that's really what her fund is for. It says help Kelsey heal. Yep. So, it goes towards all of those things. And, I know, I'm sure that her family and her friends, all try to give as much as they possibly can, but so much, she had to sell her home, for those of you who are new and don't know that, she had to sell her home that she had worked so hard to get. And then Justin came in and having no ties to the house, his name wasn't on it, having nothing to do with it. He wanted to take those funds that she was going to get from the sale of the house for future payments for the baby. Mazel, why can't I think of the word?
That's all right.
For the child support, future child
Yes.
support, not even child support right now, just for the 18 years that he assumed he was automatically going to get that baby. Like, that's adorable that you think you're going to have that baby for 18 years, but dream on, buddy. And none of that money is yours. You don't deserve a penny. So he was trying to take that from her. His name wasn't anywhere on that house. So, you know, she's back with her parents and having to live there, and I'm sure she doesn't mind, but at the same time, that was a huge success for her to have. You know, you can tell she had her shit together. You know, she had a great career, her own home, a nice home, you know, all of these things. And she has really lost so much. And to not have her baby, like, it's a pile on. And that's why this case makes me just crazy, because it is just like, what else can we do to kick you while you're down? Like, let me think of something, and then they're going to do it. So any little amount helps. And, you know, I understand that there were certain items that were taken without Kelsey's knowledge or consent that were hers from the house that evening when the incident happened, after she was rushed to the hospital that Justin took. So, like, you know, she is rebuilding, in a sense, everything. And so any little bit that we can help, you know, with anything. And that's why I think me and Maza were talking with the trial coming up next month, like, even if we, you know, have more fundraisers, every little bit helps, because she really will need it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm looking at some old articles here, and it's just like October 20th, you know, she'd already been behind bars for 39 days. And it's hard to believe we've been following this for a while now, like I said, since September. But I'm just, like I said, it's on and on this thing goes. But I think staying in, like we did with the Karen Reed trial, you got to stay in a fight. You got to help out. You got to do what you can. And I'm just feel thankful for everybody that's following this case. Joining the group, showing some support, sharing links, sharing the news, just doing anything they can to assist her, because this is, you know, obviously this gentleman here, which is, I use that term extremely loosely and probably the opposite of gentleman, is doing everything he can, filing a lot of motions in the past, doing everything he can, 18 years of child support up front. I'll be honest with you, to be really honest, I've never heard of a guy trying to get child support from a woman in my life. I don't know if I've lived under a rock maybe, but usually it's like, us guys are usually like, you know, if I get her pregnant and things don't work out, it's going to be me paying child support. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, get ready to pay your $2,000 to $3,000 a month. You know, $1,500 to $2,000, $300,000 a month.
And I think he filed for for full-time custody the next day after she was shot. Like, again, the things that he has done has shown who he is, and he's repeatedly done that. Like, that is so telling to me. Like, that, it's so telling, and it's also like chilling. Like, I can't with him.
Yeah. Over 700 viewers on X right now. Wow.
Yeah, we have a good crowd. So, like, that's amazing, you know, like, and if anyone is new here, it's a multi-layer case, and it is an absolute injustice in our opinion, and we're here to talk about it, raise awareness, get some defense funds for her healing, you know, journey that she's still on, and prayers, and, you know, support that, you know, she has a hearing coming up. For those of you who have just joined in the last little bit, she has a hearing Monday at 10 o'clock. And if anyone is local out there, is it Essex, Maza?
Essex Superior. Yep. Essex Superior Court.
then please go. It means a lot to Kelsey. Like, she is on house arrest, can't leave her home, can't even go in her backyard. So to see people there for her is a huge uplifting thing for her, and to have like human interaction, quite frankly, like I can only imagine is very helpful for her spirit and to help her get through it. So her color is purple. So it's nice to see that, you know, like those have gone and wear purple. It's easy to spot too. So it's great to watch. And it really is a big community, and it does take a big community to make a difference in a case like this. And we can't take the charges away, but if we can help in any way, like, we want to do it.
Right. Exactly. Absolutely. And I just, like I said, I'm looking, I just want to see with the discovery compliance, I don't want to see Kelsey's defense team in a situation similar to Karen's defense team, where I think that they're still trying to get discovery to this day, going into the civil case, for goodness sakes.
That's what I, you know, like, it seemed like it was moving along the last hearing, so that's good.
Yeah.
But I'm a little scared just because of the stuff we've seen from, you know, that area is like, I don't want it to be Monday and then we're like, oh yeah, we still are waiting on discovery. So I'm going to think positive and hope that they have been doing what they need to be doing to provide the defense that discovery so that they can work on it and get this case over with. Like, this shouldn't be hanging over her head. It's gone on too long.
Yeah.
So
you know, I don't trust this judge. You know, and that's what bothers me is she just, because, you know, the way she tried to wiggle out of the whole thing with Bradel there, when she said, oh, well, you could have let me know she was healthy enough to get out before. And then it turns out that, you know, she's trying to turn it on Bradel, and Bradel can't ethically, as an attorney, you know, take back or retract an SJC filing without that reflecting poorly upon him as a lawyer. They're going to say, well, you can't, you know, because they can't refile a complaint with the SJC again, was my understanding. So that's another situation where she tried to kind of like, well, you should have let me know this earlier, Mr. Bradel. It's like, no, well, once I filed it, it's filed. And again, all I came to you was about, you know, to ask that you allow Kelsey to have change parameters on her blood alcohol test. Instead, she decides to say, lock her up and you know, whatever with the key. It was just madness.
No, it was madness. And I think that was when, like, everyone, I feel like, had strong opinions of this case, but I think that was when people really started being like, okay, no, like, I know for myself, like, ooh, I was mad. I was just like, I've never seen anything like that.
And we listened to that right on the show, your show or my show. It was, I think it might have been your show. And we're sitting here, and I was just getting furious listening to it all over again. It was just inciting me like crazy. It's unreal. It's really unforgivable. Like, I just don't, as a judge, you should care about people. And, you know, like, most judges have been defense attorneys and been in those positions and know that, hey, this is a very simple ask. It was not a big deal. This happens every day. People come in and want different conditions because of one thing or another, and it's granted. Right. So it just, you know, shame on her. And then she tried to act like she was, you know, she would have granted this the whole time. Yeah, because you were the voice of reason, Kathleen. Like, come on. Right. Trying to make herself look good. It's like, stop it.
Exactly. And she, you know, I think she had to know the outrage because people were pissed. Yeah. So she was really just trying to save her butt, is my opinion. But
yeah, right. Oh my goodness. Paul Tucker, he's still the prosecutor, correct? Is that accurate? I just, for some reason, it's slipping my mind.
I don't remember his name, but I think it's the same one that it has been.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. It hasn't changed prosecutors. I was trying to check my notes. I'm like, I thought the name slipped my mind, so I tend to write things down just in case I forget. And there's a lot of names, you forget this stuff, you know, from time to time. And right now, I'm not really focusing on the prosecutor. Like, once you get the trial, like Adam Lally was not a name I knew regularly until it got to the hearings. You know, the hearings started to build up. You know, they're like, okay, but
and he was kind of like a character, a caricature at the end, anyways. Like,
Yeah.
so
Right.
this
Exactly.
and in their defense too, like they seem way more ethical than anybody in Karen's case. So maybe that's a good thing that we don't know his name or it
I think
stands out.
I think it's another guy because Paul Tucker he's the DA. He was the guy that was in the press conference with Charles Gray, Chief Gray there thing. But I think it's another guy, younger guy. I forget.
If you have that, will you send it to me? Because when I was looking for it, it was behind like paywalls and stuff. And I was like, no, it's got to be here somewhere. And I couldn't find the actual original press conference. So and it's not anything.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Huge.
One sec. Let me, I'm just going to dump it in the chat.
Okay,
one sec.
cool.
This isn't the press con. It's not the full press conference. It's like a news breakdown. So
Okay.
let me send that over to you now. All right. That's it right there. Yep.
Thank you.
If it doesn't click, just, highlight and copy it.
Yes, perfect.
This was sent to me by Leia tonight as well in the comments. This is Tucker talking. This is from July 1st. So pretty much right after the next day, pretty much. Yeah.
Laura says James. Gubitosi.
That's what it was. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought. Originally, I
Thank you.
noted it down as Tucker, but I'm like, no, it's not Tucker. I Googled them. I'm like, it's not Tucker. It was Scuba Tosi guy.
Yeah, that does
Yeah.
sound like really familiar now. Yeah.
He has now. Scuba Tosi has not angered me once yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah.
So far, I feel like he's been a reasonable.
Mhm.
I'm updating my note log too. I was supposed to do like a big breakdown video of all this, but I just don't have the time to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like I wanted to do like a whole like introductory presentation, but
That
I
would be
just
great.
don't have the time to do it. That's the
I feel you.
problem. But yeah, Gubitosi, that's who it was. I was thinking like I had like the letters OU and S in my head, but I just couldn't put it together. But it was Gubitosi. That's who
Thank
it is.
goodness we have these smart people in our chat. that
Right.
do- Because I
And I was checking my notes. I'm like, I had this name written down, and I couldn't find it on my phone, couldn't find it on the computer. So yeah, I noted it in my log. I have a small log of details that I keep just to remind myself of.
Oh, okay. This is a great point. And
Yeah.
yep. So this is the guy that he filed the opposition where he got snarky and all of a sudden had an issue with her getting out and having her modification. I didn't even put that. Yep. Yeah, that was something.
Okay, there we go. All right. Oh, I trust in Mullen law. I trust. He filed the opposition with the SJC when he didn't bother objecting at the hearing. Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Okay, yeah, Kim. Okay, no, there we go.
spoke too soon.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah. But I'll say this though. I think I'll reiterate my point. Is I think in terms of cooperating with the defense in terms of giving them things that they're requesting.
Mhm.
Outside of that, I'd say like I think he's been, in my opinion, so far cooperative to a degree. He hasn't enraged me in that regard. That's kind of the realm I was talking about.
Yeah,
So
agreed.
I'll re-specify that. But yeah, Bolivar makes a great point.
Agreed. Yeah, he
Yeah.
seems forthcoming.
To Leia's point, we're never going to be a fan of the prosecutor. We just hope that we hate him at this level and not at this level. You know what I'm saying? So in other words,
Yeah.
they're a prosecutor on a prosecutor basis, but they're not basically the prosecutor that tried to put Karen Reed behind bars during the second trial. Lally was a lackey.
Oh.
Brennan was a hired gun in the courtroom, essentially. But yeah, like I said, I have not started my swearing at Gubitosi yet, but I'm sure that will happen once trial kicks in and say, okay, because he's just doing like the hearing stuff, like, oh, we'll get that too. Yeah, we'll get that. That's all I'm really hearing out of him. But once trial, comes and he starts to say like, Kelsey did this and Kelsey did that, I'll be like,
Forget you.
That's what's going to start. I'm like, I'll probably make some comment on Twitter like, I thought this guy was like okay, you know, obviously we don't like prosecutors when it comes to Karen and Kelsey, but at some point it's going to come out and I'll be like, this guy's a total
Yeah.
bleep, 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 bleep. Edit,
I
edit,
know.
edit. Maz, I can't swear on camera. I try to swear as limited as I can in my regular life too.
Yeah, no, I mean, because at the end of the day, they're
Yeah.
trying, trying her for something that's he said, she said. And, to be quite honest, that's why a lot of rape cases don't go to trial.
Yeah.
Because it is he said, she said. And with
Right.
no body cams, that is, you have that, and you have a few like witness statements of the things that they've heard. So I just don't see this going well for them, because in discovery, the defense is going to get a lot. And I can't imagine
Yeah.
it coming out and making Kelsey look bad. I just
Right.
cannot. It's only going to go
Right.
bad for them, in my opinion.
And if Gubatosi gives them, and this is what Mullen Law said, she's agreed to that point. Thank you, Mullen Law. She goes, he has been good with discovery. So that's the biggest thing I think that a prosecutor can give you as the defense, is having a situation in which they're giving you what you want. Where with Lally and Brennan, the whole DA's office, whatever, whoever the DA had representing him, Lally, Brennan, doesn't matter. It's always been like Eliza Little was at one of those hearings. I think it was at the pre-trial going into the second trial. And she's basically all but snapped at Judge Canoni and was like, hey, look, we've asked the prosecution for a certain set of documents and information going back not a month, but before the first trial. And we still haven't gotten that information yet. That was extremely frustrating, because it was prohibiting the defense from doing everything they needed to do to make their best case for Karen. Not only that, to have enough preparation time to take that data, quantify it, analyze it, then turn it into a part of their presentation and trial. And that's what was extremely frustrating. Gubatosi so far has not been like that from what I've seen. But going into Monday, if he starts to delay stuff, yeah, exactly, Leah. Exactly. Going into this hearing on Monday, if he starts to suddenly be like, well, we couldn't produce this, we couldn't produce that, that's where you start to say, okay, man, you got to make sure you're producing this stuff, because I don't want to see Kelsey be in a Karen Reed situation where they're waiting on critical discovery and it's not being provided, because that of and in itself is a very frustrating thing to deal with. And so far, so good out of Gubatosi in that regard, I have to say. But like I said, we'll see what happens. So I yield back my time.
And to be frank, like, if there is a connection with Justin's family and someone in the court system, I think that would be also a very strong tell if things keep getting delayed with discovery too, because it seemed like that was the whole plan, was to keep pushing this off, drain Karen's funds. So that's, hopefully there isn't anything like that. And, we can get that and proceed to trial and get this behind everyone. I mean, I can't imagine Noonan and everyone else is looking forward to this either. So, to get it to a point where it's over and done with is going to benefit everyone. Yeah. Can we get to 200? I think we can do it. And you know what? That is not anything to like be disappointed in. That is, every bit adds up. So if we can get to 200, that would be awesome. The link is pinned at the top of the chat for her defense and healing fund. And then we also have Super Bowl squares that basically you win as well. So like you pick your number if you have a lucky number for the Super Bowl. I know they're also Patriots fans, so you pick your number and then you win. I think you win. Whoever wins like $600. They're $10 squares, and then Kelsey gets $400 of the winnings. So it's a win-win, and it's fun, and it is for a really good cause. So they opened up some lower cost ones too. The higher ones sold out, which is awesome. So they have a new thing going for that, and it will probably go only another day or two at the most. So if you'd like to do that too, that will also be counted as a donation tonight as well.
I believe the deadline for the $110 one is when? Let me see here. That is deadline is 4 p.m. tomorrow. So
Okay.
that goes, yep, till Saturday at 4 p.m. That's the plan with that. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so you can get in on that as well. Those are always like really fun. And we've had so many people come up with great ideas. We had a popcorn thing where you could get like literally any type of popcorn you wanted, and you got popcorn, and some of it went to Kelsey. So like we have such a good community. People really feel strongly about this case and are kind of coming together and thinking of great things that could raise funds and also bring the community together, and it's been awesome. So we want to continue just to help raise awareness and to get Kelsey in the best position to fight this trial, which will hopefully, fingers crossed, everything goes well on Monday. Then it's set for a date in March. Is it March 26th? End of
March 23rd, I believe, is the exact date on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully that is the final date, and we get actual trial and some justice. So
I had a couple points I wanted to add. This was about our concern about the judge in this particular case and the DA's office as well. I think that the concern that may not be a concern is that this is not a state police level investigation. Where Karen Reed's was a Canton police, state police, and it kind of rooted itself in the DA's office quite a bit as well.
Yeah.
This particular case is not tied to the state police, which I think, based on the theories and conspiracy theories I had as it pertained to Karen Reed's case, I believe that Morrissey and all of them were trying to cover their own you-know-whats from basically what happened to Proctor and it from happening to other people. They've had to do a lot of shifting and moving around. And I always felt that the judge in that case was a gatekeeper for Morrissey's office, because Morrissey's office was concerned about the state police, and probably up above in the state, they were worried about this at a state level as well, that this case was going to blow right open. And people like the McAlberts and Canton police were going to be dust in the wind compared to what was going to come down on the DA's office and the state police. This thing was going to turn into a major scandal. That's why I believe there was what you saw in that trial, the discovery issues, the judge continually allowing Lally, Lally's a little, we asked for this a year ago. Mr. Lally, do you have it? I don't have it ready, Your Honor. Okay, I want you to have that done by our next hearing in a month. But hey, if you need 3 or 4 more months, take 3 or 4 more months. And that was a big issue there. And that kind of made it look like, guess what? This judge is probably in on it. The judge always appeared to be the biggest problem. And I will say this. I don't necessarily think that's going to be an issue in Kelsey's case. I think we have a lot of PTSD from the Karen Reed trial, but I don't think the circumstances in this case are going to be as involved with the state police. I think this is going to be more of a, like I said, there could be a level of corruption, but it could be at the police department level, collusion perhaps with the parties that be. But I don't think this is going to be something that in a courtroom you're going to sit there and say the judge. But again, maybe I'm wrong, because you know what? Maybe I'm totally wrong, because this is the same exact judge that did send her back to jail for like 80 days. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just being too optimistic. I don't know.
I hope you're not wrong. I
know.
I think you're right. We all have PTSD from the Karen Reed trial and all the underhanded, sneaky little things that were going on there. But I guess we can think positive until we can't.
Right, exactly. So like I said, hopefully this is not, I just think there were too many hands involved in the Karen Reed case that had their own interests to protect. And I'm just hoping that's not happening here. I just want to see Kelsey take her battle against that police department in court, prove her innocence, file the civil suits against, whomever she needs to do. and that too, file it against, and then that's it. She kind of can just move on, and we're up to
That's
184 now. Another $10 donation came in. Thank you for that.
Yay, thank you, thank you. We are so close to 200. I think we can get there. Again, if you can only do $5, that adds up and makes a big difference, and we would appreciate it, as well as Kelsey.
Absolutely.
Also, while we have a good crowd here, this is a new channel. I've been doing really much with it, but I would like to in the future. So if you're here now, if you could sub, that would mean a lot. And it would be really appreciated. And I plan to follow Maz's lead and continue to do these fundraisers, and help in any way that I can. It's not enough, but it is, every little bit helps. And so if that's all I can do, then I am so happy to do it. So if you can sub, that would mean a lot. Put the new total up here. Yeah, we are so close to 200.
Let's switch gears for a second. Let's talk about your background. I'm seeing Brazil, South America there, and what's the map? Interesting.
Oh, the map. Yeah. So I love traveling. I definitely traveled a lot before I moved down to Florida. I love the beach. So like now that I'm here in Florida, I don't go as much because we have gorgeous waters here. But yeah, this is a cool map that I ordered online.
Wow.
And yeah, you can. I hate that you can't see it all, but these are like areas that I've been. They have pins, so whenever you go to like a different place, you can put. And they have the matching flag to that country or state.
That's awesome.
And you put it in there. So it's just kind of a neat thing, and then like you can add to it, and
that's
all
awesome.
That.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, I was noticing that a little bit, and I'm like, I got to bring this up. I just got to ask.
I know. I really didn't plan it out too well. I put it a little higher than it probably should have been.
Yeah.
But you can see it a little bit. So
that's funny. That's great, Lauren. That's awesome. I hope you get to go on more great trips. That'll be awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely. Speaking of that, like I hope to make it up there for at least a day or two of the trial. That is my goal. I don't know if it will come to fruition, but that is definitely a goal. I love trials just to begin with, but one I feel like passionately about. I would love to be there and see everything kind of go down in person, and it'd be awesome to meet you in person, and all these other amazing people that I've met through like this movement, and give Kelsey an actual hug, and hopefully congratulate her and all that. So hopefully I'll be able to make it to a couple days. So
yeah, perfect. Wow, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I got to figure out the only thing I'm waiting on right now is I want to ask for the time off, but the trial dates consistently can be pushed.
Yes.
If something happens, it's like, well, let's push it back to April. Let's push it back to May. So I got to wait till like it's like set. It was like a week ago, and then I might try to take a couple days. We'll see. For this one, I might see. I didn't only get to go to the Karen Reed trial once, and it was during jury deliberation. I just did not have the availability this year like the year before, which was tough for me. But it was tough not being there when the verdict was read. That was like, for me, that was like
I can only imagine.
I know it was tough. It was tough. At the same time, it was probably nice because I kind of sometimes like to be a little isolated during like big moments too. So it's like at the same time, it's like it wasn't all bad. It just kind of seeing everybody out there celebrating like that, the energy. Oh, we got a big donation. Let's take a look here. All right, so let's see how this calculates. All right, this is going to push us over 200. All right, I'm going to hold you in suspense. Let's put the new total in the chat. I'm going to hide it from the host. Here it comes. You ready?
Yes.
Sound effect. 220.
Awesome. Thank you so much to whoever sent that donation. We appreciate it. Kelsey I can't talk. Kelsey appreciates it, and her family does as well. So that is amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm going to cut off at 10 o'clock tonight, just so you know, in about eight minutes.
Sounds good. That sounds like a great time. Thank you again so much for, coming on. I know this is very last minute. So, it was awesome to have the guests that we did. Maza is always like, he is the fundraiser daddy for those of you who are new and maybe just tuning in. He has raised over $20,000 for Kelsey in all of the fundraisers that he's done. It really is like, that is amazing. And to like be able to like see someone and he really just puts his all out there, and for like other people, it's like inspiring. And so like Maza is like as genuine as they come. So I am like really, really happy to just try and, you know, be an advocate as much as you are. So thank you for setting such a great lead and example just for anyone that is going through something. Like, all of our voices matter, and it can raise money to get people, you know, out of tough times and out of possibly corruption that they're facing. So we, you know, we can all do our part, and Maza has done above and beyond his part. So
thank you.
Just a big thank you to you as well.
Appreciate that. And I share, you know, all the fundraisers that have come in. I share that with you. I share that with all the people that have donated and viewed and shared the shows as well. You know, we're putting together a campaign, you know, collectively, and this has been fantastic to get this going and continue to push whatever we can get on every fundraiser. And we're doing a great job getting things going for her and helping her out. And I'm happy for you as well with having your own channel to also do fundraisers, because as I'm doing mine roughly every 2 weeks, you know, you're also, we're going almost every other now, which is great. And I know I told you I may or may not be able to make it, but in typical Maza fashion, give me 3 hours of my time, no problem.
I figured like you're always there. Like that's another thing. Like, you're so reliable. So like, thank you for that.
Adjusted my schedule. Like, I did all my Friday night things on Thursday night. And I'm like, okay, now I'm clear. All you gotta do is bike for an hour and I'm good to go on the show. I'm like, I did that before.
Well, thank you. That is so sweet of you. And I am so glad. Like, you just bring so much to like any show.
Thank you.
So yeah, it's I'm sure it's a big treat and makes it like so much better, like the content, if you're here too. So
yeah, we're looking at probably the 15th for the next Maza Media fundraiser.
Okay,
so
perfect.
you can know yourself down for an early invite. I'm thinking it's NBA All-Star weekend, so I'm going to be watching basketball at night. So I'm thinking it might be like maybe 2 p.m. perhaps that day. So maybe a little earlier than normal. I think we usually do like 4, 5, or 6 for the start time. We're going to go around 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'll let you know. I'll get you an official word and a link and all that. We'll get going with the next one. And we're tacking at least $220 onto this tonight, which is great news. I mean, you know, $10, $15, $20, whatever it is, that's fine. Just if we're at, you know, we're getting there, we're pushing, you know, the fundraisers, you know, started the night off. It's $220 higher than it was when we began. That's great news. You know, it was 73,288. Now it's 73,508. And, you know, we've been in landmark episodes. I think we were on your show when we got over 70,000. You were on mine when we got over 50,000. We're kind of chipping away towards that next batch. So I'm pumped up. I'm excited.
I am too. And we have still a great crowd here. So like, that's another thing. If we can get more people who didn't know about this case just to hear about it and just to be like, what is this? This sounds crazy. Like, go look at it and then be like, wow, this is crazy. And then tell someone else. That is the goal, because ultimately, like, to bring awareness, that is equally as important as, you know, donations as well. And Lori, I would love to meet you and hope to meet you at trial as well. So
yeah, absolutely. Mullen Law, I got to get you back on the fundraiser too on the 15th. I'll send you an invite as well. You did a great job with us. We're grateful to have your presence on that fundraiser, helping us out, helping Kelsey out, obviously, and her family. They're very grateful people. I have not met any of them yet in person. Hoping to, you know, hopefully do that soon. We'll see. You never know. We'll see when I can make it up there. You never know how soon, though. You never know. So.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we can go ahead and kind of end up and wrap up the show. Do you have any final thoughts or a message to Kelsey? I know we always kind of do that at the end.
Sure. I just did a quick check. It's still 2:20 for the night. Okay, perfect. No, I just say, Kelsey, you know what to do best. You know, God's got you. He's going to protect you. It's an unfortunate set of circumstances that you have to face and fight through. But I do believe God picks people that he believes can get through this to set a great message to people out there to never pull us on people. We're going to give you your back, give you the backing you need financially as well as from a morale standpoint. And continue to do the best we can for you to help you out, fight alongside you. And like I said, at the end of the day, it's about helping you have the best opportunity available for yourself to succeed. You know, it's all about giving you that highest percentage chance possible. Obviously, there's so many people out there right now. Meredith Spencer is one of them. Allison had raised the popcorn store. There's great people out there that, whether they have a show or not, are going through those groups to raise funds that way too. So it's kind of a nice thing as a YouTube fundraisers, but then there's also online in those groups fundraisers that are going on that are raising money for you, Kelsey. So we're happy for that. Thankful for all these people. I know I'm in active communication with a lot of people. We're obviously emailing a lot. Me and a few of the people that are raising the funds there, we're coordinating it. They're letting me know what they're doing. I'm putting it on the page, making sure it gets the promotion when we do the shows, make sure that gets promoted, making sure everybody has the amplification. That way we can help them be more successful as well. If everybody stands alone, there's only so far it can go. But if we help them and they help us, they share when I have a fundraiser or Lauren has a fundraiser, they help us. They promote our stuff, make sure that the shows are promoted, that people know about it, vice versa. When they do the contest, we promote that for them too. So I think it's a real great thing. Kelsey, you get a great backing. And we're going to continue to raise the awareness and build the group up and just get you as well financially prepared and equipped as possible. These attorney fees are not cheap, but we're going to help you the best we can. And right now, over $73,000 raised, which is fantastic. So, all right. Those are my final thoughts, Lauren.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I just want to say, Kelsey, we believe in you. We will continue to believe in you. We have your back. We're not going anywhere. We will continue to raise funds and awareness for your case. I know how frustrating it is when you can't scream from the rooftops like what actually happened and the truth, but you're going to get to soon and it's going to be awesome. And you're going to get Caden back soon and he will pick up right where he left off and you guys will be reunited and it'll be the most amazing thing. But stay tough. You're a warrior and you're a badass and you're going to be even more of a strong badass after this. But yeah, I love you and believe in you and believe you. So yeah, just keep up the good work. You are literally a very strong person and I can only imagine how hard it is for you to put up that strength. And even if you're not feeling strong, you look strong and to put that up when you go to court must be hard some days, but we gotcha. And I know you lost a lot, but hopefully you feel love from new friends that, are all over the world. You have a lot of people backing you from different countries and all of that. So hopefully you feel just at least a smidgen of that love and support and it helps you get through the tough days. So, but all right. Well, thank you for everyone who joined, everyone who donated. Like that's really what it's about. You guys are, amazing. Everyone who commented in the chat, like we have so many amazing people that support each other. I see like all these great names in other chats and always supporting people and kind of rooting everyone on. So I am thankful for you for coming here. If you haven't subbed, give me a sub before you leave. It would mean a lot. And share this video, share Maz's videos from his streams. All of that, like there's so much useful information about this case that we talk about every fundraiser. It's not just, asking for money the whole time. We talk about the case and go through it. And so yeah, share those streams and get those out to as many eyes as possible and go like the Facebook group, Justice for Kelsey Fitzsimmons. There are wonderful people over there and Kelsey and her family check it regularly. So you can literally type a message to Kelsey and she will see it. So that's a big morale booster for her. So go over there and like it and share it with people who you think would like to, hear about this case. So, well, thank you so much. Thank you, Maza, for joining me and, giving all your insightful insight and knowledge of the case and knowledge of how to do these fundraisers successfully. And knowledge of helping me get back into my
Yeah,
own stream,
exactly. Helping you back onto your show when you get locked out. That's all right. Help! I locked myself out of my own house. Help me! Let me back in.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being here, and I will see you soon. And then we'll plan, my next one after yours. So
sure,
we'll just keep doing it and keep standing strong for Kelsey. So
that's it. Thank you so much, Lauren, for having me. I appreciate it. $220 raised.
Yes. Thank you to everyone who donated, and hope you guys have an amazing night and an amazing weekend. And go Patriots, right?
Go Patriots. Let's go. Super Bowl 50. Actually, I'll be live tomorrow with Better at noontime. We're going to be talking about the game.
Okay, so tomorrow, everyone tune in for that. Like Maz's streams with Bettero are so good, and they're both big Patriots fans. Maybe I know most of the viewers are women, but like your husbands, your boyfriends, your cousins, your brothers, like they're gonna want to watch Maza and Bettero talk some football. So go check that for sure. All right, guys, thanks so much, and we will see you all soon.
Have a good evening, everyone. Take care.